I think we are live now.
What
Hey,
up, what
Sean.
up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up?
What's good?
What's good, Kool-Aid?
Nothing, bro. You're not the only one with sound effects now, huh?
Oh.
What's up? What up, though?
Hold on, I got this. Hold on.
Sean Murphy.
All right, you ready? The Cade Crusader. The Cade Crusader. The Cade Crusader.
Hey, I
like
love that.
Oh,
I love
that's
that.
awesome, John.
The Cade Crusader.
Well done.
COVID-19.
The Cade Crusader.
I'm so mad at COVID.
That was for a pod that we did before. So I literally, I went over to my buddy's house the other day, and his wife, unfortunately, we found out after the fact that his wife had tested positive for COVID. And so I took a couple tests yesterday, turned out negative. Everything was good. And then during the pod today, I decided, you know what? We're going to do a COVID test for the first segment of the podcast. So I literally on camera got out the thing, twisted it up my nose and everything. So look forward to that coming out tomorrow. You're welcome.
Oh man.
I'm excited.
So man, let's go around the the early panel.
Yeah.
This looks like the same panel before things get crazy panel, right?
Yeah, this is This is like the adults in the room, like our dad, like the dad that's gonna make sure you're not gonna like eat mud at the park.
I don't know.
This is like your solid crew.
Raj down there with shifty eyes.
But for real though, we do want to welcome everybody and say, hey, listen, man, I call it a lazy eye, not shifty eyes. Come on now. But anyway, what's going on, everybody? We want to welcome you all to the Woodward Pistons Table Talk, baby.
Go.
And
Yes,
we're glad that y'all are here. We got obviously the Godfather, the CEO of Woodward Pistons, our boy Detroit Kool-Aid, the guy, the Godfather. We got our boy Downtown Deuce to the right of me, one of the most talented MCs and up and coming people in Detroit, one of the OGs of Woodward Pistons, just our guy. We got Woodward Pistons editing extraordinaire and mixtape hype man Carl Collins with Isaiah Livers coming out soon. And then, of course, joined. We saved the best for last today because we are joined by Woodward Tigers' own Rogelio.
Let's give it up.
Castillo.
Oh man, I'm glad.
Oh man, that is the best. That is the best introduction I've heard. Seriously, that is so dope. Oh man,
it's a gift, bro. Sean, dog, it's a
we
gift.
saved it for the guest, Rogelio, and you are very deserving of it, my friend. We're super glad to have you here, man.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So before we get started, how about let's give Rogelio a chance to tell people at home, for those that don't know about what you do, about Woodward Tigers and everything that you cover, because you are the man when it comes to Tigers baseball, and you are my go-to source and pulse for how I feel about this team. So with that, you want to tell the people at home where they can find you and what you're up to?
Well, first and foremost, thank you. You can find me on Twitter at RajcastBaseball. You can follow the Twitter account at Woodward Tigers, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Woodward Tigers. And we got an app coming out that I'm actually going to share with you guys that we've been able to kind of go over highlights as they come out. And I have a couple of people in mind. I gave them all your names, so that's going to be something cool. So that way, for example, you see a clip on Twitter, and you want to talk about it, like a highlight or a dunk or whatever. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I set you guys up with the gentleman. So that'll be coming out, but that'll be definitely, especially for the season coming up, for what is becoming I saw the prediction today, 27 wins. Come on, that's come on. Maybe a little more than that. So
a little low.
Yeah, a little low. But yeah, you can find me there. I also write constantly on WoodwardSports.com to go to the news site, mainly baseball, but I can cover everything. So thanks for the opportunity to speak up.
Oh, absolutely,
yeah,
man.
Raj is a machine with this stuff, man. He's a machine with this stuff. The way he covers it, it's like, wait, how are you at the game? Like literally recording somebody, doing a video interview, but your article is going up at the same time. I'm just like, man, show us your ways, Raj. But shout out to him. Everything he's doing with Woodward Tigers, like Sean said, it's awesome to see him work and kind of set and lay new precedents for all of us to follow as we in this content creation game, try to bring you the best Detroit sports coverage. But hey, we got a few shout outs.
Yeah, what's going on?
That's
People are curious what I'm snacking on. My brother treated me some Italian food last night, so I'm eating cold fettuccine Alfredo right now during the pod. Hey, this is a come as you are kind of show. I feel like I'm coming as I am, and I am hungry. So
no judgments.
Yeah,
no judgments.
Yeah, it tastes
How is that
great.
cold? I was gonna ask. Yeah, is it good?
It's actually
is it good cold?
pretty good. I feel disgusting about myself. I'm pondering all my life decisions and everything that's led up to this moment. But overall, I mean, it tastes pretty good. You know, you never feel great eating fettuccine Alfredo cold, but I mean, hey, it's getting the job done, and that's what we're here for. So
I'm over here like just realizing, like looking into the monitor screen, like, wait, why am I over here like kind of drooling for some fettuccine Alfredo now?
Yeah, bro. My stomach is over here like.
Yeah, we went to Carabella's last night.
Like it's Olive Garden on Uber Eats.
As it is. It absolutely is.
Oh man.
Hey, we're coming to the table with some food today. That's not bad.
Yep.
He said you gotta do what you gotta do.
You do, man. It's been a busy day. Had to run some errands before we got here. That's why we're a little late. So sorry about that. But I mean, it's just good to be here with the family and talk some basketball and even some baseball a little bit too. I got to start, Raj. I do want to ask you real quick because I don't want to get too depressing with the Tigers, but I know Adam's very firm on the Fire Alavila train. Where do you lie in that conversation? As my guy Jeff Iafredi slides in.
Jeff,
so
the living legend.
Yo,
it's good, Jeff.
That's the everything.
Yo,
it's good, sir.
How you guys
doing? Good to see you, Jeff. Nice article earlier, man. By the way,
I appreciate that. I think Sadiq Bay is gonna be the greatest shooter, man. I really do.
We gonna get there.
We gonna get there, baby.
But to answer your question, Sean, look, I wrote an article today about I just want the Tigers to be entertaining the second half of the season, because quite frankly, I'm tired of the hot takes, the hashtag Fire Avila, because we know he's bad. We already know he's bad, and beat a dead horse. But would you want to see some sort of progress? And before the season began, the Tigers had questionable depth, and I'm not sure where the narrative that fans believe that this team was ready for the playoffs. They still had a lot of gaps to fill. I mean, depth in the outfield, the infield. They're not consistent players. Robbie Grossman had a really good year, but before that, he was streaky. Tucker Bernhardt, same thing. And Baez, as you know, too, Cubs fans were infuriated with his performance. So,
right, his struggles weren't a secret before this year.
And then, exactly, and a lot of this wasn't. So I think, in closing, really, I think that Avila needs to go because they need an overhaul on that completely. When you're drafting, I'm working on a video thing that goes over his history, and it's bad. It's really bad. They need to do something soon, and I completely agree with it. I'm just not going to keep shouting it because everybody already knows. You know what I mean? Like it's common sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
so you saying basically send Avila out now, and we ain't pouring out even not one drop of Kool-Aid for him.
No, yeah, just
not one.
rocket and just send it to space.
We don't even
you
care
can
if
put down a
the
couple.
on the way out. Shit.
No, because I mean, you get Riley Green. There's. Go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry, man. I was just gonna make the joke. If we're gonna give him Kool-Aid, I'm just dumping the packet out on the table. I'm like, there's your Kool-Aid, jackass. Like,
You're not even mixing it.
I
You get no water from me.
It ain't getting no water. Like you're gonna lick the powder off the table, and you're gonna like it, Alavila.
You know what he's gonna get, man? He's gonna get. He's not gonna get Kool-Aid. He's gonna get that generic stuff. He's gonna get that. What does it sound? Put the it starts with the W. Oh God, there's some generic Kool-Aid, but he's gonna get that generic stuff.
Kool-Aid.
Yeah, Walmart brand. You know that.
Great value.
Yeah.
So
Great value. Yeah, he's gonna get that. He's gonna get that great value. He's gonna get that great value grape, and you know full well he's gonna be missing out on that. But no, it's. Honestly, things got to change, and it eventually will. I think things are going to come too, but.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, of course I got my buffs. Kool-Aid.
Please enact, dog. With the buffs on. tearing open a package of Kool-Aid and making them lick it off the table, dog.
Yeah.
We can't say that. We just
Great
laugh.
box of Kool-Aid.
Like, you want some
If
Kool-Aid?
he really had a
There's
packet of
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid on deck, I would die.
Oh my gosh, dude! It's like
Oh,
it's like eat rocks, man. Eat
Dog.
rocks, and
Man.
it's
D Night
Deuces.
was good.
liquor from homies who drink the liquor.
Bro.
Now I feel like it's fun.
ah. All right, well, gentlemen, I gotta take off to do my pod. Get ready to do my pod, but thanks for the opportunity.
Yes,
And
sir.
I'm looking,
Much
and I've been
love.
plugging you. I'll plug you guys every week because you guys do fantastic work. And again, you guys killed it with the draft coverage. Much. Anytime you guys need me to plug anything, you let me know, man.
Definitely.
Well, hey, you guys
That's
go
the
too,
man,
Raj.
man, and we appreciate everything you do for Woodward
Appreciate
Sports
you.
and for the Tigers
Yeah.
community, man, and just for the people of Detroit in general. You're going out there driving and going out to minor league games to cover guys and make sure that you have the latest scoop. So seriously, man, you do it for the love of the game. We love you, dude. So seriously, thanks for being you.
He's killing it.
Thanks, guys, man. I appreciate it, guys.
All
All right,
right.
man.
Till next time.
Have a good evening, man. See ya,
You
man.
too.
Jeff, I want you to know I'm eating pasta right now. You're home. I went to your native land last night, Carabella's, and I got some fettuccine Alfredo.
Ooh.
Dude, I'm so
Man,
proud of you,
right?
Sean.
Mm-hmm.
You got cold pizza and you got cold pasta. It's levels.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we just wanted to say hi to Rogelio real quick.
Oh,
Let's
man.
talk some basketball, man.
Yeah, I got these topics
Good.
pulled up. We're gonna get into the best and worst Pistons with a number 7. That one courtesy of Mr. Jeff Iafrady there. We had some fun with that one on the Woodward Pistons podcast. Did you guys cover that one as well on From Half Court?
No, we didn't.
All right, but we are gonna get into the Pistons ceiling and floor. I know we did cover that one on Woodward Pistons. I know you guys covered that one as well on From Half Court. I think that's one we got to get to. But Killian Hayes' expectations this upcoming season, and instead of people getting on our takes, make sure you put your takes in the comments as well.
Yeah.
You are
And
part
everybody
of the
seems to be
table.
jumping on the Pistons bandwagon. And I know we're also going to get into Sadiq. Is he the best shooter in Pistons history? But let's start with this best and worst Pistons to wear the number 7 most recently, man. You know, we had a lot of fun with this. What were some of the names that you guys can remember that were number 7?
Stanley
That's the
Johnson.
worst. Are we
Oh,
starting with
no.
the best? Are we starting with the worst? What are we doing?
Yeah, we go.
Let's go with the worst.
I went
The
right
worst?
to Stanley, man. Stan the man. If he can do it, no
Ooh,
one
that's the
can.
worst.
Oh, he's
Well,
definitely one of the worst. He's definitely
as-
one of the worst.
As bad as Stanley, I think we can do better than Stanley. We got to
Yeah.
go back
Listen,
a little
though.
bit.
But listen, though, here's the thing. Let me push back.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because people forget. What number did Stanley Johnson wear his rookie year? Does anyone know?
3.
Number 3. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
That's right.
And then proceeded to his following year when he moved to the shooting guard. You know, his worst season as a pro, started wearing number 7. And then
that number.
from there, never recovered as a player. So literally had all of his good times in the number 3 and had all of his bad times in the number 7. He was
It's a curse.
bunned as a
It's a
number
curse.
7.
Yeah.
Wait. So you mean
Yeah.
to tell me that it's number 3 Stanley Johnson that's still in LeBron's head, not number 7 Stanley Johnson?
Exactly. Yeah. It was the remnants of
That's
Ben
it.
Wallace that was really scaring
you
him.
go.
That's what happened.
Yep.
Hey, boy, we got to check your. Hey, man. Hey.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Hey.
no,
Can't be good to check
Hey.
your accuracy.
no.
He's the
not
GOAT.
worst.
He
Number
was solid.
7 since his
He's
time.
not the worst. I was
Yeah.
gonna
Has
actually
there been
put
a better
in.
one since him?
Right, I was gonna
Guys,
say
his
he's the
name's
best.
Mr. Jiggles. He's here to stir up. That was the his
love it.
name is Mr. Jiggles.
Oh, man.
I got a
Yeah,
couple of number 7s for
yeah.
y'all. I got a couple of number 7s
All
for
right,
y'all.
read them off. Read them off.
I'm just thinking off top. So we got, who remembers Smush Parker,
Oh yeah.
Oh,
right?
okay. Yeah.
I got another name for y'all. Primoz Brezic.
Oh.
Who remembers that name?
I
That
The
one
center.
burns.
Bro, that's one of the ones we used to
Yeah.
talk about in school, bro.
Remember that one?
That's too long ago.
Anthony
Oh.
did Anthony Goldwire wear number 7? I think he wore number 7. He was like a 10-day guy. He was trash. But yeah, Anthony Goldwire. Yeesh.
Brandon Jennings was
Yeah, he
Jennings.
did.
I think he's the.
Goldwire did.
Is
He
he
wore
the-
7.
he's
Brandon Knight, right?
yeah, Brandon Knight.
Yeah,
did.
you gotta
Yeah.
give Brandon Knight that one.
Yep. The worst. There's a worse one right there. There's a pretty bad one.
Didn't Mason
Yeah.
Plumlee wear 7 too?
Did he wear
Plum
7?
Dog Millionaire.
Oh no,
Did he
Thon
wear
Maker. I'm Thon Maker.
Yeah, Thon, yeah.
Thon Maker.
Oh,
Yeah.
You might be.
Yeah.
Didn't
might
Rod
be
brought
worse.
up Don?
Yeah, he brought
did.
him down. He brought up somebody
think-
else too, but I forget who it was.
Yeah.
And then
For
obviously
me,
we
it's
got Killian.
Yeah.
Killian, right? I think Thon or Smush Parker for me is like the worst of the worst.
Smush Parker, man.
Smush Parker, bro. Yikes.
Dude, oh my gosh, Smush, man. How did you remember
Any
that?
others? Bro.
Oh,
Okay.
what's his name? Kelly Tripucka.
Oh yeah, Cully was nice.
Yeah,
He was
Kelly
number
was
7
nice.
too.
yeah.
All offense, no defense. Mike
That's all.
James. Didn't Mike James wear
Oh,
number
Mike
7?
James.
Mike James, but he was good.
He was
Yeah,
good.
he was a
Bulls,
hooker.
man.
Mike
Yeah,
James
Him
and
and Lindsey Hunter. Come on.
Lindsey
Yeah.
Hunter. Those two were.
Yes.
Lindsey Hunter is who I wish Killian Hayes would kind of turn into.
Right.
Wait,
That'd
so
be nice.
Absolutely.
ooh, hold on.
Hold on. I got one more for y'all.
Bro,
I got one more for
Jeff,
y'all.
I'm writing that article. Don't take that one, bro.
Okay.
Jeff been firing away and
All right,
shot.
I won't say anything more. I won't say anything more about that.
Gene
Wait, hold on.
Shu. Remember that name?
Oh my!
Gene Shu. Gene
Oh.
Shu.
Uh,
Old
I
school.
gotta look up
old
Pistons to wear the number
school.
7.
I believe he wore 7.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure Gene Shu wore 7. Mike James.
I-
Who? Hey
I
man.
almost was about to be like, "There's no way you don't know who Mike James is," and I was like, "Wait a second, don't get
I
got,
don't know if you
don't
mentioned-
get got like that."
I don't know if you mentioned this guy, but Ben Gordon also wore.
Yes.
Hey Carl, please remember that Lindsey Hunter comparison when we get to the Killian Hayes expectations.
I actually have a complete list of every player that's worn the number 7 for the
I
Detroit
was,
Pistons.
I was looking for it.
Let's do
So
Let's rock,
according,
Sean.
according to Pro Basketball Reference, there have been 18 players to wear the number 7 in franchise history, and it goes as follows: Leo Clear, Frankie Bryan, Corky Devlin, Gene
Okay.
Shu,
Yes.
Dick Atha, Kelly Tripucka, or Tripucka. Holy cow, I can't talk. Raphael Addison, Chucky Atkins, Mike James,
4.
Anthony Goldwire,
Mm-hmm.
Smush Parker, Smush the God Parker, Primoz Brezic in 2008. And then we get to true Mount Rushmore territory here. Ben Gordon was number 7 as a Detroit Piston. Brandon Knight was number 7. Brandon Jennings, Stanley Johnson, Von Maker, and Killian.
Dude, I think it's Thon, man. It's kind
And
of
it's
Don?
that is a bleak list.
Yeah.
yeah, like I don't know.
Yeah.
The
Don or
comments were
Stanley,
like,
I guess.
"Yo, the number 7 is so ugly in Detroit history."
Yeah. Unlucky number 7. You could be right, Jeff. Now that I think about it more,
Like
he
who
was that was hard to watch, man.
Yeah, Ben Mister.
That was hard to watch,
Yeah,
bro.
that's so true.
Yeah.
A lot of
Man.
these guys too. Like I like Brandon Jennings and Brandon Knight. Like they had, I don't have.
Yeah.
It's really Stanley Johnson and Thon for me. Like those two are up there. Like the
Yeah.
Mhm.
apples and
Yeah,
oranges.
Jennings and Kelly. I think
I agree
that
with that.
like in the history of Pistons, obviously Kelly, Jennings with his spurt, he was definitely somebody that made a lasting impression, man.
Yeah.
Lasting impression.
I wonder what would have happened if he never tore his Achilles.
Right. Well, we were playoff bound. I swear to God, we were playoff bound.
I
We were-
actually
we were
remember
playing-
I went to his rehab game after the Achilles injury. He had a rehab game in Grand Rapids for the Drive at the time. And I remember Andre Drummond was in attendance, Reggie Jackson was in attendance, Stan Van Gundy was there. I actually met him and got a selfie with Stan at the time. By the way, one thing I will say about Stan Van Gundy, the only man I've ever seen in my life pull off a fedora. The man looked fly. This guy rolls up to freaking Grand Rapids in a freaking fedora. And I'm just like, man, tip of the cap to you, sir. You know what I
That's
mean?
not
But-
like Stan.
Yeah.
yeah, but like,
that's like-
Brandon
that's-
Jennings, like he put up like a 40 piece, and like his first play out the gate was an alley oop. So like the guy was like, he looked awesome, and I just remember, like I loved who he was as like a rookie in Milwaukee. People forget how high his stock was after his rookie year. Like Brandon Jennings, year 1 looked like he was going to be a star in this league. So, overall, like like you said, like what would have happened if
Yeah.
he never tore his Achilles? Because potentially it could have thrown off the entire timeline. We might not have gotten Cade because of that. It's
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
crazy to think about.
Yeah, it is. I often think about it as he
Yeah.
was like the sacrificial
Right.
lamb for it all. You know what I'm saying? Like if it wasn't for that, do we go in the trajectory that we've gone in.
The sacrificial Achilles.
Yeah, but it was interesting to see because it affected so many more people than just him. Andre Drummond was playing some of the best basketball that we saw him play up to that point, man. He was playing his role. And Brandon Jennings was one of those players that I thought Andre Drummond, he was one of those weird dynamics Andre Drummond looked up to. And at the time, Jennings was becoming a more mature player. And he could tell him, bro, be here or be there. I still remember, I think one of the most electric plays in the last, I don't know, however many years, 5-10 years, was that Jennings off the backboard to Drummond in LA. Yeah, that play was just absolutely, it was just like, man. And that was hungry Drummond back then, man. And I do believe that Jennings had a lot to do with that. Yeah. And Coach She was on the sidelines, dunk everything. That's the school of dunk everything is Rasheed Wallace. That's what we see out of Jalen Duren, and that was his coach.
I was going to say Jalen Duren. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, Jalen Duren now perhaps could be the best number 0 to ever be in the franchise if he comes in and is more than like what Andre was. I mean, that's kind of a crazy thing to think about.
It's all up here. I'm telling you, it's all.
To me, that's always been the difference between that's like Jalen Duren. I think I told this to Kool-Aid. I forgot who I said this to off air, but I said Jalen Duren is everything I wanted Andre Drummond to be.
Yeah.
As far as like what he is as a prospect coming in, because Andre Drummond, the only time he ever really looked that hungry, if we're really being honest about it, guys, and I hate to say it, was his contract year. It was the time when he could get the bag and get paid. Those are his years where he was statistically at his best. And that's not like an uncommon thing. We see it all. That's like something that happens all the time throughout sports. But I mean, with Andre, like when, I don't know if you guys remember this, but in that playoff series against the Bucks, the one thing that was like the defining moment to me for Andre Drummond was when Chauncey Billups on broadcast in the middle of game 4, like the Pistons' fate, their season is on the line. And what's the thing that Chauncey Billups is calling Andre Drummond out for? His effort. Getting back on the defensive end. Boxing out and getting to the glass. Allowing Brook Lopez to do whatever he wants. Draw easy fouls and moping throughout the game. You know, obviously, like we can think back of all of his great times, like some of the great highlights, his statistical performances, some of the things he could do. Like when he was a 2020 freak, I mean, that's the thing that would be crazy. But the other thing, as like scouts have said about Andre, he could go out there, get you 20 points, 20 rebounds, and have zero effect on the game. And
which is any scout that says that, take their card, because that's the most stupid statement ever to ever let be valid. 20 and 20 is such a crazy effect on the game.
But here's the thing, though, guys. I get it. But how many times did he get 20-20?
Who has he played for? What did he come into? Jalen Duren is coming into a situation that Drummond would dream of having. He came into
but the problem was,
cheeks, bro. Like, get out of here.
The problem was he was
Drummond didn't have nothing. He ain't had no point guards.
No,
we
but
give
here's
him a
the
point
thing.
guard. He make what? All team
Kool-Aid.
Third NBA? Come on, bro.
Was Andre Drummond at the time, and I'm not saying he should have been, but Andre was the franchise guy. He was the number 1 guy. He was the top paid guy. He was the guy that they were building around. Was he not? For a period of time, was Andre not the franchise guy?
He was the guy that they had to make the investment in.
Right. He shouldn't have been the guy.
He shouldn't have been. You're right.
He shouldn't have been the guy.
You're right. The guy that they got paid like that. He should have been an option on the team because Andre Drummond needed a point guard and he needed an elite wing. Like we say right now with this team. As Troy puts this team together, people right now are saying, well, who has Killian played with? Well, who has Cade played with? Well, who has this person played with? I can tell you this team has already played with more talent than Drummond had.
Okay, but he did also play with Reggie Jackson pre-injury. He did also have Brandon Jennings.
Hold on.
Listen, I'm not saying he had this. No.
Bro,
Let me talk. Let me talk.
Bench players?
Can I talk? Can I talk? Can I talk? Can I talk? Hey, they're Kool-Aid. Can I talk? Anyway, so here's the thing, man. I get it. I agree with you. He didn't have great talent on his team. He didn't have around it. But my point is that how many times did you see Andre Drummond go out there and have a 20-point, 20-rebound game, go out and have these types of performances, and we still lose by 13 or 14? How many times have we seen Andre Drummond in the most important, crucial parts of his career, biggest matchups, biggest nights of his life, shrink in the pressure? Every single time he played against Joel Embiid, literally every single time he played against a star, any single time he was on national television, you could know it was an off night and that you could tune in next night when he would get a 20 and 30 against Washington, because that's how Andre Drummond functioned in his career. You knew he'd show up against the Wizards or the Clippers
basketball?
or the Hornets.
Leave it at that. I'm not even gonna go to the play aspect. Have you ever coached it or actually had to sit down and game plan basketball? Because there's one easy thing you can do to a team that only has Andre Drummond, and it's legitimately take him completely out the game by just continuing to send people. Our teams with Drummond are some of the most trash teams ever. Go back and look at all of the rosters he played with, the coaches he played with, the front office he played with. What are we talking about here? He led the team consistently in steals and blocks. He was consistently top 10 in the league. In the league, not among centers, in the league in steals and blocks. Those
were top 19 in the league almost every single time he was on the court.
Nobody, I guarantee you put all of the minutes together. Nobody else on a court on a night-by-night basis was giving us as more as he was giving us.
In Andre Drummond's prime, who was he traded for?
But to sit here and trash him like that, I'm not going to let that go. Look, was he overpaid? Yes. He was overpaid. We can all say that. But you got to go back and look what this man was doing on a night-by-night basis with nobody on his team. You drop Drummond on a team that actually has a point guard, actually got a wing. Come on, man. What are we actually talking about? He's a good third or fourth option on a good team. That's what he is. The Pistons overpaid him, and Piston fans overreacted.
I agree.
I'm not defending anything of what Drummond wasn't, but there's a lot of players that aren't. We don't sit here and parse those players like this. It's just because of the situation Drummond was put in by giving the contract by an owner that was overzealous. That's the situation Drummond was put in. He was drafted here and got what? Drummond used to get on by Embiid. Do you guys understand that early on in their matchups, it was a little bit more even? But Embiid actually had a good team placed around him. That's what I'm sitting here talking about.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like, what are we talking about here? We talking about actual basketball?
And I was gonna say that's not really fair. Embiid owns everybody outside of him. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, they're not the same kind of player.
Joel Embiid also can literally.
These boys was getting canned as soon as they was coming into the door, dog. What was he? What was he to be? What was the team?
He didn't have Troy Weaver.
The expectations, the expectations for Andre were outlandish. The executives.
That's what I'm saying. They were stupidly outlandish, dog. And the whole.
My point is, both can be true. Because listen, you saw what happened with Andre when he was ultimately in the opportunity, in the place to actually go win a ring. What happened when he went to LA? What happened when he was in Cleveland? What happened when he was in Brooklyn? What happened when he was in Philly? No one gave a damn. Because that's what Andre Drummond's value.
Brooklyn, Philly, all these places, man, that man was broken after that, dog. Getting traded from Brooklyn, getting traded from Detroit broke Drummond. And he openly admits that stuff, bro. He wasn't the same player, and he still wasn't put in a situation. The NBA, this era, it passed him by. When Drummond came into the league, if he had a different set of coaches and a different front office to actually do you understand when he got drafted, literally the only person who wanted him was the person on the way out the door, and that was Joe Dumars, not the coach, not this other development staff, not anything, dog. If we're not going to let that matter, then why hire any of these guys? Joe Dumars did see something, and Drummond had a talent, dog. He had a talent to be able to get it done. These guys refuse to work with him. We see Beef Stew getting worked with just a little bit, dog, and now he adds a three-point shot legitimately in a summer. We see Sadiq Bay going out there and going from just people saying, why did we trade Luke Kennard for a three-point shooter? No, we traded him for a dynamic player that this staff can
We could talk about Joe Dumars' eye for talent another time, because believe me, that's a whole other conversation and a whole other thing that we can go down. But the point is that here's the thing, man. All I know is that when we needed Andre to step up, and when the lights were brightest,
he did.
He didn't though.
What was he? I don't think you understand.
How many playoff games did he play in?
How much is he supposed to give? Let me.
Can I get a playoff win? Can I get one win?
How many excuses did we hear for LeBron needing more help? The greatest player of this era. Think about what we're talking about here. We're saying that he needed more. We're talking about, think about all of these things. First, we say he needed more to make the playoffs, just to make the playoffs. And Drummond didn't even have the team that freaking, bro, give him at least a booby daggone Gibson talking about Reggie Jackson. Dog, Given that niggas with Julius Elgauskas as a
Answer my
teammate
question.
instead of Greg mother freaking Monroe.
Hey,
Like,
answer
what are
my
we
question.
talking about?
Answer
He
my
had
question.
nobody. He made
Answer-
All-NBA. He made All-Star. He made the rookie team, and he busted that all up. What are we talking about? Go back, look at
Kool-Aid,
that
can I
grade.
ask you a question?
You
Ask
talk
you a
about the
question.
stars. I've done this already, and I got the receipts, dog. The head-to-head of Drummond against most of these bigs, including Karl Anthony Towns and all these other dudes. He owns these dudes.
Who's
Except
bringing
for
up
played with
Karl
him.
Anthony
Joel Embiid.
Towns?
Huh?
Bringing up Karl Anthony Towns? No, not at all. No. Listen, let me
He
ask you a
owns
question.
these guys. I
me
got
ask
the
you a question.
receipts, and I'll send them to you, brother. In
That's
Detroit,
fine.
he owned most of these guys in his head-to-heads. But you're sitting here saying that Drummond was supposed to do more than he did, and that was already phenomenal enough to make an All-NBA team at his peak. Think about that. What more was he supposed to do? Score 40 and 20? Or were the people on his team that were paid, like Reggie Jackson, you brought up, supposed to actually be something? These guys weren't nothing. They were brought here and they didn't do anything.
But
bro.
that doesn't
Reggie
excuse
Jackson had spurts. I'm not
Kool-Aid.
gonna take that from him.
But
Spurts.
Kool-Aid, that doesn't excuse what happens when the lights are brightest.
That's
What
all-
happened when Andre Drummond faced off against freaking Brook Lopez out of his prime? He
You saying
freaking
when he
ate
faced
him
off
for
against the
lunch.
Bucks? When he faced off against the Bucks, you
And
mean?
then the Cavaliers, yes.
Against the Bucks, you mean? Against the whole Cavalier team?
Was
Did
it
you?
who?
And against the
Kool-Aid,
Cavaliers.
who was better at the time?
Against the
Andre Drummond or
Cavaliers.
Brook Lopez? Answer my question.
Against the
Who was better
Cavaliers.
at the time? Brook Lopez or Andre Drummond? Answer my question.
Brook Lopez has owned Andre Drummond his entire career, and that
He
just
was
happens
out of his
sometimes,
prime
brother.
by 5 years, Kool-Aid. He hasn't
Brook
been a,
Lopez
he hasn't
owned
been a
Drummond his
freaking
entire
all-star
career.
in over half a
And that
decade.
happens. That happens sometimes. And when you have a team
That
like
happens
Milwaukee
sometimes.
who can
I don't
run
want it to
5
happen
players
sometimes
at
when
you
it's
at
the playoffs.
all
It happens
times,
all the
who's going to be
time.
elite. What are you expecting? Because what were the Pistons running?
Something.
We can sit here and
is
talk
what
about
I'm
Drummond.
expecting.
What were the Pistons running out there?
Something.
Anybody other than mattress
Anything.
leg Blake?
Anything over
What were the Pistons running?
7 rebounds in a
What were they
playoff
running?
game.
What were they running?
Brother.
Stanley was locked away in LeBron's head in the Cleveland series. What were they running, dog? I'll send you out there, bro, to run the 5. Maybe you will get more effort, right? With
Listen,
nobody
man.
else out there doing a daggone thing.
Hey,
I ain't got no
Kool-Aid.
problem sitting here saying that Drummond shouldn't have got the money. Drummond was overpaid. But we're sitting here talking about Drummond is supposed to give more than 20 and 20.
No, what I'm saying, listen, what I'm not saying he was supposed to get more than 20 and 20. What I'm saying is when the moment mattered most, when the lights were
What were
brightest,
your
he
expectations?
struggled.
Then I
which-
guess I gotta
so-
say,
so
were you
I
Duke
guess
like
which-
Tom Boris?
No, that's what I expected, but that's the problem.
Then what are we
Kool-Aid.
doing?
That's
How is that the problem?
is
When you're
we
building
all
a
knew
team,
it would
you build it
happen.
smartly.
We
It's not
can't
his fault that they
justify it.
stacked him out. Rod Beer said the same thing.
You
The
are
only
copying
issue
him
here is
out,
that he
Kool-Aid.
was paid the max. That's the issue here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
I think
That's the issue.
it's
It's not what he
franchise guy.
provided.
It's
I
the
never bust on a
expectation.
man's work, bro. It's a
But
grown
guess
man
what?
who
That's
works.
what he signed up for. And when you sign up for that role, you're supposed to conduct yourself a certain way. And if you don't live up to it, you get to be held accountable. That's called the court of public opinion. That's called this conversation. And if we're looking at the legacy of what he did when he was put in that position, he shrunk. He was garbage
It
against
doesn't
Joel
make
Embiid.
any
He was
sense because if
garbage
you put an
against Brook
actual point
Lopez.
guard and an actual wing on his team, guess what? We're going to be sitting there saying, yo, his 20 and 10 helped us
Did you not
win.
have an all-NBA
That's what we're
player
gonna be sitting
the
here
second
doing.
time they
We're
made the
sitting here
playoffs?
right now
Was it
bringing
Blake
it
Griffin a
down
third-team
because he
all-NBA
played
player?
with people like John Lure.
Was Blake
I'm still
Griffin
asking for y'all
nothing
to
that
bring up
year?
the people he
Was
played
Blake Griffin
with.
just
I can bring up all of the bums
Hey,
he
dude,
played
I
with.
love this.
I can bring them
I do
all up
too,
and
bro.
tell y'all that LeBron.
I
Blake
love
Griffin
it.
did not exist,
I'm just
guys.
like
Did you know that he
This is
never
me
was a
right now,
Piston,
bro.
never
I'm
had
just
time
chilling.
on the court.
Who did he play with, Sean?
Carl just chilling.
He played with Reggie Jackson, who
Who did he
in that
play with?
playoff series was solid. He played
has
with
he
Blake
played
Griffin,
with?
who
Hey, I'll be right back. I get my popcorn. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
That's all
He
I'm
We're
was
gonna put
saying.
my,
literally
I'm
just
gonna put my Michael
pretending that his
Jackson thriller
playoff
background
series
back up here.
didn't happen, and he was historically bad in the playoffs.
Y'all not telling me who his teams were.
I am literally telling you. I am asking you. Did Blake Griffin all team not exist?
That year,
Elite
Andre
win-
Drummond went on a stretch. 'cause I
that
did an
year,
article on it.
there it is.
Andre Drummond
There
went on a
it is.
stretch. Andre
it
Drummond
is.
that year went on a stretch. The Pistons don't make the
Thank
playoffs
you.
without his historic stretch in
Thank
Pistons
you.
history. They don't.
Thank you.
They don't.
And then what did he do
Yeah.
when he got there?
What'd you say?
What did he do when he got there?
That boy was gas, bro. What are you talking about? What he do when he got there? He's sitting here playing against who? Playing against who? Like, what are we talking about? With no Blake Griffin, realistically. Who was on the court with him?
Listen, man, when the
Who's
light
gonna court
shines,
with him? Do you know how many times Andre
Who is
Drummond
he
was stuck
against?
guarding 4 and 5 people because his perimeter couldn't guard a daggone soul?
where do
But
you,
we're not
where
gonna
do you
talk
rank
about
Brook
basketball.
Lopez in the
I'm
top
tired of
centers in the
people
league
just
right
wanting
now?
to sit
He's
around
not above
and
top
just
15.
yap
He's not
about
even
hoopers.
he's not even above top 20 right now.
Look at the game. I implore you to go and look at the game, and you tell
I
me
did
he
look
wasn't
at the
stuck
game,
guarding 3
and
and
he
4
shrunk.
people.
I looked
dare
at the
you.
court and forgot he
You're
was on
not
the
going
court.
to. I have.
Believe me, brother, I have watched a
I've
lot
done
of
the
Andre
articles.
Drummond
No,
basketball
everybody in
throughout
the
my life.
comments all of that stuff. I ain't got no problem. Look, I will speak authoritatively on the things that I have already gone out of my way to actually go and research. This is something that Detroit Kool-Aid legitimately made a platform on over the years because people want to talk crazy about things because they're emotional about the Pistons. I get it. He's going to be the symbol of that era, and it's always going to have a bad connotation. I get that.
Especially when there's repeated
don't care.
offenses
The man
and moments
balled.
where he's not
People wanna say,
showing
"Look,
effort.
this one
Kool-Aid.
game he
That's
did
the
this."
antithesis
But
of
bro,
Detroit
we're
basketball.
not there if it wasn't for him. Go back and look at the string of games that season, bro. Go back and look at it. That's all I'm saying. I've already done the articles if you want to make it easier. One of them should be up on Woodward. I've done them already. Go back and look at the stats and the numbers. Go and look at the head-to-head
Let's do it
between him and most of the bigs and the fours in the NBA during his time as a Piston. He looked like a complete shell of himself once he left, and I get that. And look, what did he play like a max player? Heck no, he didn't play like no max player. He didn't.
Yeah.
He
But we're
didn't.
supposed to dismiss what he did in the playoffs, though.
What
Are we
what
just
I'm saying
supposed
is
to forget
how much?
that
So
happened?
we started before the playoffs. How much was he supposed to give that he didn't give? Because I can go and I can look at about the whole rest of the team and say this person didn't give anything, this person didn't give anything, this person didn't give anything. So Drummond is already carrying more than his weight. How much more is he supposed to give?
Guess
With no
Andre
point guard,
Drummond's career
no
high in a
shooting
playoff
guard,
game.
no small forward, no power forward.
Guess Andre Drummond's career high in a playoff game.
I'm asking, what is he supposed to do, bro?
Guess
What
Andre
point
Drummond's
guard
career
does he
high in a
have? 'Cause I
playoff
can-
game.
That's like sitting here talking about what's Ben Wallace's
Here's another
highlights in
question.
certain games, bro.
I was gonna ask.
Brother, don't
Here's
even
another
go
question.
there.
Here's another question. What is his rebounding career high in the playoff game? Because we got to be fair and look at his strengths and also his weaknesses too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
to
true.
answer your question, his career high is only 16, so he never even got to 20 in the playoffs. He was actually below his capabilities in the playoffs when it comes to rebounding.
16
So
rebounds.
when you look at his strengths, his strengths
Nah,
actually
come
better.
on,
That's a
bro.
lot.
with Drummond. That's exactly
16,
it.
bro. Come on, man.
Exactly it.
No, I
16
gotta jump in
shows
now. I gotta jump in. I've been letting y'all
That's the
chill. I gotta
Yeah,
jump
yeah.
out. Nah, bro. Nah, bro. That ain't gonna
Bro, I
work.
get one.
If
I
you,
get one per game.
Only 16, and of those 16, they're pretty much give me rebounds because there were 12 of them were on the defensive end, only 4 on the
was
offensive
that
end. Not,
against?
not really much of an effort.
Meanwhile,
from
we're
there.
begging Stu to get a double-double, please. You got 10 points and 9 rebounds. Get it, Stu. Get it. Oh, dang it. There goes my parlay
And
for
it-
the night.
Hey,
We
it goes
take this
back to
stuff
the
for granted,
expectation
dog.
level.
We beg these
Yeah.
players to be rebounders. Jeremy Grant.
So okay, but
please get
Kool-Aid,
more than
then let
4
me ask.
rebounds.
Let me ask. Kool-Aid, let me ask. I'm just telling you what I think Andre's legacy should be as a Piston. If that's not what it should be, what should it be? How should he be remembered? Should he not be criticized for when the lights were brightest that he shrunk? Should that not be part of the
because
conversation?
That doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't
Why?
make sense.
I wouldn't.
He didn't shrink.
Yeah.
He's a player that was always dependent on a pick and roll game and having a decent point guard. To say he's shrinking, once the game changes and you don't have what you need, like Reggie Jackson was busted up.
Was Reggie
saw
and
Drummond's
Andre
best
together
friend.
not one of the better pick and roll combos in the NBA statistically?
What did
Because
you
they
say?
were.
Who?
Reggie and Andre.
Reggie was injured.
He wasn't injured in the playoffs.
He was hobbled by then. Yes, he was. That boy was coming back from the
Did you not forget how he put up 29 in
No,
the
he
game
wasn't.
4?
He wasn't injured in the playoffs, but they played well. They got swept, but all those games against Cleveland were close. Let's be
Reggie
real.
had 2
Yes.
injuries
Let's be
that
real.
happened. One of them wasn't as significant as the other, but Reggie was not at 100%. And if the
because
Cavaliers
you're
know,
right. Yeah, because
and if
Reggie
the Cavaliers
always
know,
he
look,
needed to get
if
shot
we're
up with
sitting here
that.
saying
With
that
those,
Drummond was supposed to be Kevin Garnett, then I understand why people are getting all crazy and all, oh, Drummond wasn't it and Drummond this and the other.
right.
But bro, I don't understand what people were expecting. What are you expecting?
No,
if
the
you run the
problem
pick and
is
roll with
that-
Drummond,
that-
you're going to get 2 points. That's the point of it.
you didn't
If you're
expand
not
the game.
doing that, which for some
Right.
reason the Pistons failed to do a lot,
You're
then
right.
you're not going to get those 2 points.
You're right. Drummond was perfect. in his time in Detroit. He did
It's not
nothing
about
wrong.
Drummond being perfect
He
in the
gave
time.
110% every single play. He showed up to every single playoff
Who
game.
did that, though?
You know
Who
what?
does that?
I don't
Everything
think
he
that's it.
contributed
Beef
was
Stew doesn't
enough.
do that at
Everything that he did
110%.
was great. You know what? He doesn't deserve any criticism.
But
In
who
fact,
said that?
let's
We're
get him
not
some
sitting here
orange
talking about
slices.
criticizing his
Let's get
game,
him
bro.
some
You was on
Capri
trashing
Sun.
his game
Let's
like
sit him
as
down
if
and
all
tell
of
him
us
good
agree
game.
with what you were saying, and I just didn't.
Right.
I just
we
didn't
gotta
agree
look
with
at both.
where you
I
were going
think,
with the premise, bro. And I can have
I
a
think we gotta
different
look at both
opinion than
sides of
that.
it.
And the
Right.
numbers
I
actually
think-
back me up. It's just nobody's going to actually go and do the homework. Nobody's going to go back and look at the film. People are just going to be in their feelings, and they're just going to say what they remember because how is he going to be remembered and how should he?
But the problem
Exactly
is
how
that
he's
you're
going to
implying
be,
that I
man.
don't do my homework, Kool-Aid, and that's just not true.
Then go get the numbers and bring them up.
I have them right in front of me. I have his
Bring
playoff
them up.
numbers. I've been reading to you right
Bring up his
now.
numbers then, brother.
Will do. Let's
Bring
talk
up the
about his
rosters
2 of
he
8
played
free throw
with.
performance in game
Bring up
3,
his
5 of
head-to-heads
14 from the
against some of
field.
the better bigs, 5s and 4s in the league.
Guess what his plus minus was game 1 of that 2019 series? Minus 45. Pretty good player, right?
Is he
Then
still
next
bringing up the
game,
playoffs?
he improved.
Like those playoff
Went from
series
minus
matter?
45 to minus 32.
Like those playoff
That's
series
better.
matter? They played LeBron James, and then did they win the championship that year?
Yeah.
The Cavs or no?
2016.
To give Andre his credit,
They won.
And then they
plus minus
played
wise,
Giannis and the Bucks. What are we talking
Yeah.
about?
you're
He
right.
had no team either series.
But he was the best center in both series, is what I'm saying. If you're the best player at your position in a series, you should be able to at least come in and have an impact.
The best
Do you
center
not?
aspect is subjective because the way
Like,
that
Jeff,
Andre
am I
Drummond had his
crazy
impact
here?
is the
Am
way
I
he's
just
always had
speaking
his impact.
nonsense?
If you're saying that Drummond is supposed to go into this series and be something different than he's always been, then I can understand the disappointment.
Mhm.
What was he supposed to do other than rebound? Be the
What I'm
person
saying is
you're
I was
looking at
expecting
2
him
and
to
3
be
players
like he
coming
was
out of
using
the
Andre
perimeter.
Drummond, that guy that you're talking about
perimeter
to be a 2020
was trash.
machine. And that never happened in the playoffs. So what I'm saying is what you expect out
What
of
was
Andre, because he did have those nights where he was night to night consistent.
Do you know
That's
what teams do in the
wanted out
playoffs?
of him was one of those
I'll just ask
performances
anybody on the
when it
panel. What's
mattered.
the first thing a team is going to do in the playoffs? What's the defender of the opposing team going to do? Are they going to scheme to take the best player out of the game?
way.
To
Is
make
that
their
not what they
effect a
do
little
every
less?
single night, every single game is go after their best player? That's
When you
But
have
the
absolutely
playoffs are
nothing
I
else on
different.
the
understand the
team,
scheming
yes,
that
The
you can
playoffs
do
are
in the
different.
playoffs, but that doesn't
When
mean
you
that you're
have-
not
different.
scheming against
Sean.
players during the regular season, dude.
bro, when nothing else is on the team, you can do that. That's the point of it.
Mm.
We saw Cade get into some terrible turnovers, and we know it's because of a lack of talent around him.
You're right. It's a travesty that Jalen Duren's allowed to wear the number 0. It should be retired. It should be up in the rafters with Bill Ambier, Rick
Hey,
Mahorn,
look,
Ben
all
Wallace.
the
It's the
stuff,
greatest
you can do
players
all the jokes
to
you
ever
want.
be a
I get
Piston.
that. That's your retort. That's not mine. You can say all you want. I'm not saying that. I'm not co-signing that stuff, bro. People want to sit here and put all this stuff on, and this is the problem with Lions.
And I'm not
with-
saying
with-
he's the
with
only
Detroit
problem.
sports
Believe me,
fans.
there's a lot of
Who
problems with
continue
the
to
front
go
office.
and
You and I
support
agree
the
on a lot
Lions
of these
saying,
things.
Those are the same people that come in here and think is more that error is more on Drummond than it was on the front office or the team around him or the coaching. Get the frick
That was
out
the
of here
biggest
because
problem.
you have to go and place the blame.
I agree.
Drummond is not anywhere near the top, dog. When you would go, the roster
But you're
was
acting
trash
like he's
first.
not on the
Put it
list.
in a vacuum. You wouldn't go and say, you know what? Drummond didn't give effort in game 1 of that one series, I don't think. Bro,
I could point to
everybody would
more
say,
than
bro, this
game 1,
roster is
dude. It was
trash.
every game. It
How
was
did they
whenever
get
it
here?
mattered. It was every game. It wasn't that one. It wasn't that one. It was, when the lights are on. That's when and it's that one.
That's
Conveniently,
hyperbole, bro.
it's not hyperbole. That's
is.
fact.
It legitimately is, bro. It
Okay.
legitimately is.
Okay.
I swear to you, you put a better team. If Drummond was drafted into this situation, we would not be sitting here talking about it like this, and he also wouldn't have gotten the max contract.
So
my question is, I always question. I mean, I denied it like every game, but people like all our fans were questioning like his effort on a night-to-night basis. Like he was moping when he didn't, get his way, get the ball. How much did the expectations placed on him have an effect on how he went about the game?
That moment,
like,
be getting.
we built around him when he should have never been the player that we were supposed to build around.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So,
bad
like,
decisions.
I feel like it's definitely both. I mean,
Yeah,
both sides. I mean, both of you guys are right. I mean,
I agree, Carl. Like when you're forced to play outside of your scope, you're going to look bad. How many times was Stan Van Gundy trying to post him up like he was Joel Embiid?
yeah.
That's just not a good idea. So, I mean, if he was brought here to do what he does best, which was rebound the ball and provide interior defense, You put him in a team where other guys can do what they do best, and he has a complementary guys.
Right.
He is a much better player in the narrative, and the narrative on him is much different. But when you're asking him to do things outside of your scope because you don't have those guys around you, then you're gonna look. You're not gonna look as good as you should. And I think that's what happened with him. I'm not saying that Andre Drummond was a player who I don't think he had expectation he could have, but I also don't think that he should get a lot of the flight that he does. I think the expectation level that was set for him is what really hurt him, because now you got people thinking he can see, and he's just not. He's not that guy.
Okay, but how about all the summers where all you saw on Andre Drummond's Instagram when he wasn't dropping terrible mixtapes was his highlights of him in the gym trying to get his 3-point shot up, was trying to get his ball handling better, was him trying to expand his range. Because listen, what I'm saying is that if Andre even tried to focus on being the player that would be at his best, on focusing on rebounding, on interior defense, and improving on all of those things, and being the actual archetype of what would be successful for Andre Drummond in the modern NBA, I would agree with that. But all we saw from Andre was all this BS. I felt gaslit every single year going, oh, this is the year where Andre is going to expand his game. This is the year that Andre is going to take it to the next level in this front. It never happened.
Because
he deserves some blame for that. He's an adult.
He was what he was, and that's going to always be what it is. Nobody was in his ear. Look, you put a basketball player by himself and just tell him to just go for the summer. That's what it is. You and Jeff, bro, we be talking about this all the time, man. We know that this regime has a little bit different pulse on its players than the previous regimes have. They have things that they're telling their players to specifically work on. They're telling their guys, hey, we want you to do this, not do this. We want you to take this time off or have this time in the gym. They're telling the guys, we want you all together right now. Drummond came into a different culture that didn't care about him at all in the beginning. And it just was this thing where he was just doing his own thing for a while. The threes and all of that. I don't think Drummond knew what he should work on. When he's playing with a team that the point guard don't know how to use them, and the NBA is passing him by because they're all shooting three big, floor spacing big men, then he's going to go into the offseason and start doing what? Shooting threes. Who's in his ear telling him to do anything different? And on those circuits, bro, I'm telling you, Sean, that stuff matters. Nobody, he was young, man. Nobody was in his head. No one was in his ear.
But cool, here's where the disconnect is, because I don't disagree with pretty much anything that you're saying as far as the culture of the team, the fact that he was put in a position and he shouldn't have been in, or that what did you expect? I agree with you on every single front of that, dude. But what I'm saying is that there has to be a two-way street, because you need that support from the team. That's why we're glad that Cade's in the position that he's in, that Ivy's in the position that he's in, because we have Troy Weaver, we have Dwayne Casey, we have the voices and the prominent people that he needs to succeed. We firmly believe that we are a far better position to actually restore and actually build a culture that's in liking to what we actually want the Pistons to be. But the problem is that, like, I completely agree that he didn't have the right people in his ear, that he didn't have the right people running the team, that Tom Gores, there's a lot of blame for how he's trying to run the team, how he was just trying to get us to the playoffs and didn't worry about anything else, how they tried to go and make Reggie Jackson, a guy that we all knew was a solid backup point guard but didn't believe he could be an all-star, gave him $80 million. Obviously, that's not what he should have done. And of course, Andre shouldn't have gotten paid $100 million. I firmly agree with that. And a lot of that starts with the front office, with ownership, with leadership. I firmly agree with that. But the problem is Andre signed that piece of paper, and with that, he took that max money and even said before the free agency period, before he was traded for John Henson, Brandon Knight, and 2 second-round picks, that he was due for a big contract act next year.
He made a commitment. We all know what that ended up being. Made back to him, bro. They did not put nothing around him. They would have been better off not trading, honestly, for Blake Griffin and just rolling back with the squad that they had with Tobias Harris in them. Like, that's the issue here. They didn't when the player signs, you can't just say, okay, he signed. We got big threes out here talking about we need fourths. And we sit out here talking about Drummond signed. That's it.
But if we lost the series solely,
that's what
here's the thing though. Here's the thing though. I agree. We were outmatched in those playoff series. And if all it was, and you couldn't question anything and just say that, oh, well, yeah, we were just outmatched. Those teams are way better than us. What did you expect? I agree. But when there's moments where people like Chauncey Billups are going on national television questioning your effort during a key game, is that not a problem? when someone who is a prominent voice, someone that people look to for guidance on the Pistons, calling him out on his effort during a playoff game? Is that not a problem?
You could try to play up the Chauncey thing. Look, whatever we want to look at as it relates to Drummond's
he said it on ESPN.
Whatever we want to say about Drummond's efforts and all of that, I can go and legitimately say that about every single NBA player on any given night. I get sitting there and talking about, oh man, because there's nights when I'm sitting here like, yo, Beast, too, why you look so spaced out? Bro, someone just cut back door on you. Dude, that rebound was right there for you.
If Chauncey was questioning Cade's effort, how would you feel?
What did you say?
If Chauncey was questioning Cade Cunningham's effort in a basketball game, in a playoff game,
you mean
how
like
would
Dave
you feel? No, he didn't question his effort. He said he wasn't sure if he was a superstar. That's a completely different thing.
No, he said you can't build around him.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell he was talking about.
That's a shot.
It's completely different than the question I'm asking. It's
I feel
unrelated.
One All-Star guard.
It is entirely unrelated to what I'm saying.
Was criticizing our draft pick, and then we got another All-Star guard who, honestly, if he's not sitting up there talking about everything wrong with this team and just zeroing in, then he bought the negative Kool-Aid like everybody else did. Like, that's the reality. That's what we're getting at here. Shout out to the Lions fans who said Matt Millen got to go, Quinn Trisha got to go, rather than keying in on players. Rather than keying in on guys who were put in what situations. I'm not sitting here saying that Andre Drummond was a perfect player, Sean. We're not sitting here saying
but you're completely devoiding him of criticism.
I didn't devoid him of criticism. I didn't.
All right, how is he in the playoffs?
Like effort, when we get into things like the effort thing, I don't know how to gauge that, bro. That I'm not going to sit here and talk about his effort. The man consistently led this team in like 8 or 9 stats across the thing, more than just rebounding and points, and more than just rebounding. And a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people don't understand that.
I want to give the rest of the panel an opportunity to talk here for a minute.
I don't even understand how Andre Drummond, bro.
Listen, man.
We were supposed to be on Killian Hayes like a half hour ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
listen, man. I completely get it, but all I'm gonna say is that the I didn't do my home. That's just not true. I'm just gonna say that's not true. All I'm gonna say.
So you telling me you did the homework on Andre Drummond and then came on here, bro?
I didn't prep into tonight going, tonight we're going to talk about Andre Drummond, but don't think throughout my time watching Andre Drummond, trying to understand why exactly it wasn't working, what wasn't clicking. Believe me, I was trying to do everything in my power to believe. I'm not trying to insult
anybody's basketball intelligence, Sean. I'm not trying to do that, but
and don't question my homework.
I legitimately did do the articles on it. I legitimately did watch the film and the footage on it because it was one of the hottest things within this community, and nobody wanted to tackle it. Everybody just kept sitting down, writing the same thing. Andre Drummond doesn't give effort. Andre Drummond doesn't give effort. I'm sitting here like, like the Joker. Like, what? Do balls fall off now? Like, is this a situation where you guys are looking at a team and you're sitting here telling me this team is what it's supposed to be? This team is what it's supposed to be. It was easy to just let that man be, in my opinion, the absolute scapegoat, and he should be. He is the face of that era. I've said that throughout this. He's going to be the face of this. They didn't win under him. He got the money, whether it was the wrong decision or not. Those things, it is what it is. I was only talking to the aspects of what you were talking in the beginning. Some of the components of what you were talking about and trashing him as a player, bro. Come on. Because that's what I'm saying. The numbers and the proof were there. The team around him was trash. The front office around him was trash. And if we went down the list of the Pistons' 5 biggest problems from his era, Drummond is not in that top 5.
I think Jeff made a very profound point when he said we really didn't see much growth. We talk about Sadiq Bay, guys on this team now, who every year they're showing something different.
Different mentality.
What's he add to this game this year? I think that's one thing I would have liked to have seen from Andre Drummond, but to say that he didn't give effort, rebounding is about effort. Rebounding is about effort. So there was one season, I think it was 2016, where that whole season he had 5 20-20 games. Everybody else in the league combined had 1. So we have to be fair when it comes to effort. I think we didn't see the consistency.
But was the effort to fill up the stat sheet in the rebound column, or was it the effort to do what's best for your team to win games?
Well, that's the thing.
Because how many times Russell Westbrook fills up the rebound column? Do we ever think he's going out there making the team play each and every single night? Because that's the thing. I get that rebounding is effort, But is his effort misguided? That's my question, dog. And that's what I'm trying to get to.
I feel you.
I'm surprised that no one else. Like, I just feel like I'm in an island, and I just didn't watch Andre Drummond play basketball.
No,
I was blind.
No,
I don't know anything about basketball.
Here's the thing: if Andre Drummond played with other All-Star level talent, and the results were the same, then we can have the conversation that his stats were empty.
And he did.
But he never.
When he went to the
he
Lakers.
never had. He
And
never.
he did.
Well, we're talking about the time of the
Nets.
Pistons, because by that time he was mentally gone. It was a totally different situation by that time. We got to look at how he played when he was here. When he was here, the only All-Star he played with that was a caliber player was Blake Griffin, and he was on one leg.
Yeah.
So if you give Drummond a big 3, if you give him a big 2 to go along with him, we're not having this conversation about empty stats, because he's doing what he does best, and he has guys around him doing what they do best.
And Bashir, bro, listen, you got to understand something. This is what I'm talking about. It's easy to jump into these narratives about effort and motor. Go and watch the tape. Is anybody going to sit here and tell me they haven't seen? I love Beef Stew to death. I love him to death. You going to sit here and tell me there aren't rebounds he's leaving out there? There aren't double-doubles, a lot of them that he's left out there?
But
that's what I'm talking about. If we're going to, like, what are we applying?
Also young.
You've seen that's all I'm talking about. That's all I'm talking about. Is this what is the narratives? Who are we going to apply them to? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Look,
you guys see
a lot of stuff to do. But look, people want
like in Jose Calderon that left the chat. You see that comment?
Bro, look, they want Killian, bro. And people are saying we need to cut Killian like we cutting up on Drummond. And Sean, I love you, bro.
I won't cut it. I can't cut him up, dude.
Go ahead, Sean. Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead, Jeff.
About Killian?
Yeah. What's your thoughts, bro?
I mean, I've always said this too, man. Like, at this point, the whole drafted 7th overall thing, I compare it to Jeff Okudah with the Lions. Let's just drop it. Like, at this point, it's not about that. It's about what can we get out of Killian. And right now, he's in a great situation. He's gonna have an opportunity this year. More talent coming off the bench with him as well. And I think at the very least, like, we acknowledge he's not a scorer, but he brings so much other things to help you win. He's going to be a guy that can play down the stretch if he can consistently knock down shots. And that's something me and Sean talk about a lot on From Half Court, is like, it's the consistency. That's what I'm asking out of Killian. I know he's going to defend. I know he's going to be one of our best on-ball defenders. I know what he's going to bring with his playmaking ability and his passing ability, his versatility too. He's 6'5", so a lot of upside there. But yeah, it's really accepting who he is. I've done that. I'm ready for this year for him. I think it's a good opportunity, but I also feel like it's a make or break year for him, because if he comes out with, you have more talent, you want to see him improve in areas, but if he's a liability all year, like, that's a tough decision for Troy to make. So I'm looking forward to it, but I'm confident, man. I like Kill.
Yeah.
I don't think the narrative's written on him. I mean, listen, I think with Killian, I think a lot of it with Killian, as we talk about what Andre didn't have, Killian has everything that you would want for a young player to have as far as for his chances to develop. He doesn't have to have the pressure of being the number one ball handler to be the franchise point guard, the number one guy. And with that, with those adjusted expectations, he can go out and actually have a role. It's not like an Andre situation where he's expected to be the number one guy to go carry everything. He doesn't have to be that at all. So I think, again, just setting where your expectations properly are what you actually want him to turn out to be. Because with Killian, again, it's as long as he can keep up that defensive intensity, he has the intangibles to be an all-world NBA defender. He has the intangibles to be one of the best playmakers in the NBA. He has the intangibles to be an NBA level scorer. And if he can get there, he will never struggle to find time to be on a basketball court, ever.
Yep. I think the expectation may have been something that really bothered him too, and really gotten to him. There were times, I think this is the first year where the main focus, or much of the focus, is not on Killian Hayes. Year 1, when he came here, he was going to be the guy with the ball in his hands to be the guy to lead our team. Year 2, he was a disappointment to many, and then we had Cade. Now it's, can he play with Cade Cunningham? Year 3, it's Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, Sadiq Bay. Oh yeah, Killian Hayes. So I think now he is in a position to where he can just play his game, not feel the pressure, not feel he has to live up to the expectation, and just hoop. And I think he's going to do that this season.
And two with Killian, man, like, it's about accepting who he is right now and understanding, like, if I had to give you a list of things I'm most excited for Killian, it had to be, number one, it's consistency. Number 2, it has to be health. staying healthy. I think that's a big one because we talk about that with Rod as well. Like Rod mentioned it, being healthy, not having those little injuries that keep him out or not allow him to just keep rhythm and stay in the game and be consistent. Like if he could play the entire season, he can be more consistent. And there's going to be opportunities where like Killian is going to turn down a shot. I want him to just kind of get over that. Like just let it fly, man. Like if you know you've been working in the gym all off season, take the shot. Like, and I get it. He's making the right play, and maybe that's who he is. But people who are saying he's going to win six man of the year or average 15 points, it's just not. I just don't. That's not a thing, man. He's probably your, I would say if I had to predict, probably your seventh man. I don't even know if he's your sixth man right now. I mean, yes, he's probably the second guy off the bench. But again, I'm excited. I think it's a big year for him too, a really big year. But like we talk about too, Kool-Aid, about Troy, he's going to add competition, man. Like he's not going to just let him slide. If there's not enough to show Troy, like, listen, there's always somebody ready to take your spot. And
that would be interesting because Killian was Troy's first guy, so it'll be interesting to see kind of how much slack he gives him during the season. And
that's a great point.
I was actually about to go there, Carl. I was actually about to say, because it's interesting. Drummond was kind of the first draft pick going into a new era of Pistons basketball, just as Killian Hayes is the first draft pick going into a new era of Pistons basketball. And listen to the conversation that we're having with Killian in years 2 and 3 that we were not able to have with Drummond in years 2 and 3. We're able to readjust expectation because we have a front office who's not scared to say, you know what? We think his role or his position might be best served. And now we can have a conversation that's more critical of a player about getting better. And that's what that's more or less what I was talking about. With Killian, we're sitting here saying, well, maybe he needs more talent around him. Maybe we need to move him to the bench. Maybe we need to this, that, and the other. And that's, for everybody who understands, that was the perspective that I was saying was missing. We're able to put Killian in his best spots. Jeff, the phrase that you continue to coin is, what are they asked to do? We can't ride on that for months and say that what these players are asked to do. And then we hear the players say the same thing. Well, I wasn't asked to do this. And what Killian is being asked to do right now and how this team is ushering his progress is the only reason why we can sit here right now and talk about potentially positive expectations for Killian Hayes moving forward. That's the tremendous beauty. It's not just that we have a decent coach or decent development staff or a decent front office or decent, basketball operations, or so good within the, within the G League that we can pull up that general manager. Shout out to Rob Murphy. This, from top to bottom, it's like this is night and day. If drafting Drummond with Larry Frank and following it up with Mo Cheeks was hell, what we have right now is legitimately the proverbial start of heaven that we can sit here and talk about Killian, a number 7 draft pick, Troy's first draft pick, who should carry the brunt of expectations, right? But we're not doing that. And that's a good thing. That's what I'm saying. We should be talking like this about Killian rather than, oh, man, he's this, he's that, like some of the other fans have tried to do about him so early in his career. With Killian, and we've talked about this, I want Killian to be somebody that can push to still be a starter. I don't want to see this man settle into what we're all talking about. He'd just be a good bench player, because I think that's letting him a little bit off the hook. I really do. I believe that's letting Troy off the hook, and it's not going to be consistent with what he's shown so far. And we know that if Killian doesn't push, like we said, Jeff, Troy is not going to waste any time bringing in another guard. He brought him in back-to-back drafts.
And you mentioned it too, bringing up him and Drummond being both guys, being those draft picks that are transitioning to a new regime. But look at the difference in terms of talent added around them. Like, look at what Killian now has around him, and look at what Drummond. Look at what it's twofold. It's a double negative. I mean, I agree with Sean and you. Like, you guys are arguing two things I agree with. I agree with Sean in terms of questioning his mentality on a lot of nights, but also it's like I appreciate those moments with Drummond as well. And I understand the situation he was in, because, like, guys, like, look at the talent that Stan Van Gundy. I mean, it was Joe Dumars, and then you had Stan Van Gundy, you had Ed Stefanski, all just a disaster entirely. That's also an issue. So it's honestly, you guys could argue all night. Like, I don't think there'd ever be a winner, because you both are right. Like, that is how it is. But with Killian, though, with Troy, he's a different man.
I didn't do my homework though, Jeff. I don't know what I'm talking about. I've never watched Andre Drummond play basketball.
Watch Andre Drummond play basketball, brother, from a standpoint of actually taking note of his game.
This is how I watch basketball.
One thing I do wonder,
when you're 15 years old, bro. I get
One
it.
thing I do wonder though is what if we didn't have Cade Cunningham and what if we didn't have Jaden Ivey this
true.
year? What would
That's
the narrative
true.
be on Killian Hayes then? Because he have a lot more focus on him then.
You know
That's
that
all I'm
microscope.
talking about.
That microscope's out. Of it.
That's
You
what I'm
know-
talking about. What did we put around Drummond? Josh Smith?
Yikes.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's all I'm saying. Like I'm not sitting here at all. Look, I just want to say this publicly, guys. I'm not trying to insult and Sean. Let me look over at Sean. I am not insulting you. Okay, understand that. I love you, bro. You know that. You're my bro. Like I'm not trying to do that. This is not even you, bro. This is years. Like people go back and just search Andre Drummond and Detroit Kool-Aid on Twitter. Y'all understand? It's crazy. It's crazy. Don't go search that actually. But listen, I don't mean to insult your basketball intelligence. I know that you're one of the smartest guys and one of the most well-studied. And we've said that.
No,
With
just
Drummond,
make-
I do.
Yeah.
Look, bro,
make
I
no
got a
mistake.
PhD in it. I'm ashamed to say it, but I did get a PhD in it, dog. I had to.
They
I
got
was
a
like, look,
doctorate in Drummond.
I got it.
Bro, I got sick of hearing this man talk about
The
Drummond,
victory
bro. I
Kool-Aid.
remember.
Hold on, dog.
my
Man,
God.
you know what we're gonna have
Hold
to do,
on.
man? We're gonna have to come
Oh,
back to this.
That's
You know-
tough.
You know what we're gonna have
That
to
is
do, man?
terrible, man. What?
You know what we're gonna have to do, man? What we're gonna have to do? Let's put a pin in the Drummond thing for now. But I suggest in a month from now, we come back and revisit it. But the difference is you and I prepare and do homework ahead of time. And we make it a debate special.
We're gonna do it on King's Court. Oh,
Oh.
we'll tell people about
Oh.
that. That's what we'll do.
Ooh.
There's a reason,
Oh.
Sean. There's a reason, Sean.
Oh,
That's gonna be fun.
Shout out
That's
to
gonna be
King.
fun. Yep, shout out to King. For sure.
But this is
Okay.
exactly it. This is what I'm saying. Like, look, yeah, I can sit here. I'm not mad at anybody that wants to criticize things that they would want to see better. I can sit here and say a lot of things I wanted to see better from Drummond. Post game, should have had that. Free
Mhm.
throws should have been better. For as much as we saw him
Absolutely.
having at least a decent 3-point shot, I know he got his free throws a little bit better, but it was just too late. That was.
That form was
Yeah.
not, it was never gonna
Scott
work.
is
for me.
killing me. Like, yeah, there's a lot to criticize him on, but the biggest thing here is this: the Pistons, they weren't bringing in true competition to take his spot, bro. Killian Hayes,
They were bringing in role
as a
players.
first draft pick, bro. Troy
literally,
Weaver
they've
wasted
brought
no
in
time
point
bringing
guards
in
every
Stu
year
and
after
Sadiq
they've
Bay
drafted Killian.
and Saban Lee.
That's
You know what I
true.
mean? Then turned around and got Cade. Then turned around and got Ivy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
can't
what if we
stop
went around
drafting
and got-
point guards.
What'd you say?
They can't stop drafting point guards. Literally every year after Killian, we've gotten point. And I mean, granted, that's just where the cards have landed. That's where the talent's been.
Yeah.
But in addition, I mean, Cade's different. I mean, let's be real. That's just a whole
Yeah.
different piece. But yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, like that is kind of the piece that you can touch on is the difference in the front offices. But what I would say is if Killian Hayes was getting paid Andre Drummond's contract, I would look at him under the same microscope. That's all
If
I
he was
say.
getting paid Andre Drummond's contract, then broom out the front office, and we need to march.
I agree.
Tom Gora said.
I
Yeah.
agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
that's
But broom
facts.
that guy out too.
And also, what
Yep.
is a 2020 Andre Drummond or 20 whatever his averages were 20 and 16 compared to a Killian? Like, what would he be his box score he could put up? That would be
Killian's
like,
never going to make an All NBA team.
okay. So there you go.
Mm.
Like that's the difference.
Killian's
So
never going to make an All Star team.
Yeah.
Killian.
He's
it's
never
not
going to
like
lead a
putting up-
team to a playoffs
15
to
and
even
15.
look hapless. He's never going to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I still love him, man. I think too, just the difference. I think the big thing we all have to hit on, and you kind of talked about it already, is like Stan Van Gundy, Troy Weaver. Like
Yep.
these things matter. Like it
Yep.
doesn't
Mic
matter.
drop.
And it's all about whatever you're asked to do. And Killian, right now at the beginning, it was our franchise point guard for a short period of time. Then you landed Cade. So then he moves. Now he's not asked to be that guy. And now with Jaden Ivey, definitely ain't asked to be that guy. So he
Right.
just fell into that role. Drummond.
Yeah.
Drummond was like asked to be that guy, and he never was. I mean,
Yep.
he just didn't.
What
expand
if Drummond
his
had
game.
Troy Weaver?
Yeah, if now Troy would
If he had
recognize
Troy
that,
Weaver,
and
he would have
Troy
shipped his ass day one.
Well, Troy,
I was gonna
look
say,
at-
would Troy Weaver have drafted Drummond? That's the
but
No.
here's the thing
That's
too. Like
You wouldn't have.
that's the question.
You
Troy
wouldn't have.
Weaver, Troy Weaver challenged Jaden Ivey too at the draft, man. Like after he took him, we want you, or before they took him, we want you to be better at the defensive end.
Mhm.
If Troy was with Drummond, he'd be on that ass, man. He'd be like,
All the
what?
time.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
What?
that's
Like
what I'm saying.
Sadiq Bay, you got to get out the gym. Like Isaiah Stewart, you got to get him out the gym. Cade, you got to get him out the gym. Like these guys, it's just different. It's like hot and
Yeah.
cold, two different,
Yeah.
completely.
And with
cold.
And I agree
Killian,
with
it's
that.
like because we have a Troy here, and because we know that guy's not resting his laurels, we get to sit here and say, all right, well then, yeah, we want Killian to go out there and just be the best guard off the bench, be that first guard off the bench, be able to go out there and play your solid, be ready to play 30 minutes a night, even if you only get 20, 22.
Right.
I don't think he's gonna ever score 15 points a game. I think this guy right here just said it best.
I would love that.
This is kind of about what I think the ceiling will be. I don't think he will. That 1.8 steals, that would be elite. That would be a lot. But yeah. I mean, if he can get there, I think that would be playing to the new expectations that we're setting for him.
1.8 steals is a lot, but with Killian, I mean, I feel like he's just that good defensively. He could definitely end up with that.
And if you're playing against second unit guys,
that's exactly it. I mean, he's.
For sure.
I don't want to say he's a starter playing off the bench, but he's got the tools for sure.
Absolutely.
Did Casey have Jonas?
Valanciunas?
Yeah.
Yeah, Casey did have Valanciunas.
And we saw Valanciunas honestly develop into a much more well-rounded player over the course of this year.
It's kind of interesting though, because Valanciunas, he really kind of his kind of takeoff happened after he was with Casey. Though is kind of the interesting thing. Even though he did develop and become a solid player under Dwayne Casey, like some of his other developments and true booms are actually when he was with the Pelicans. So it's kind of interesting how that played. But I think if he was with him longer, I think if like he was with Andre when he was a younger player, I think his career would have been different. I agree. Yeah,
Kyle Singler. Wow,
Kyle was healthy. It would have changed everything. No, but in all seriousness, I think. Listen, I think you saw. I think you saw like Dwayne get good basketball out of Andre. In all seriousness, like I thought he did help Andre. But at the end of the day, I think what I'm kind of getting at as well is like you have to want to help yourself too. And I think that was just my thing with him is like sometimes it's like, even if he did have the right voices, I just don't know if he would have taken them. That's just my thing. That's all it is. It's
and I agree with you on that, man. Like with Drummond, it was just terrible from the start. It was just dead on arrival. And I can easily say from the start, any aspect of the critical was almost like, dang, we can sit here and talk about it, but we got a whole lot more to go. But
exactly.
I like this here. He says Killian may be a good player, just not on our timeline. And I think what determines the timeline is what a person wants to get paid.
Yeah.
If Killian wants to be paid more than he's worth, or if Killian doesn't see what's being built here and understands what he can have long term, then it's definitely not on our timeline because they cannot repeat the same mistakes of the past.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if he's the 7th pick. I don't care if he's your first pick. You can't go and give this man anything more than he's shown to be worth. Straight up.
Yep.
But here's the question though, because I just don't know if there's a team out there that would overpay him in that way. Like I don't know, like maybe like when I think of teams that would like maybe take a flyer on him, like I look at like I could see the Spurs, I could see Greg Popovich looking at him and like and saying like, hey, I'll take you in. And I could see a DeJounte Murray type blooming happen, like less so on the offensive end, but maybe that triple double type of performances. Like I could see something or even like the Pacers. I'm sure like he would be a solid backup for them. Like they pretty much like to take anyone that the Pistons pass on. That's why they have Tyrese Halliburton, but that's a whole other conversation. It's just one of those things where, I think ultimately I don't know if Killian will have the leverage anyway. I don't know if anyone else is going to give him that kind of contract. So the Pistons might honestly with what he's shown so far, the Pistons might be his only viable option. They might be the biggest Killian Hayes fans in the NBA. We'll see.
Yeah.
I love this comment, by the way.
Yeah,
I love this comment.
You could touch on that, would you?
Mm-hmm.
No, because we talk about this all the time. Like Marcus Smart, look how old Killian. He's the same age as basically Cade. Like they're close in age. So I think that's also underrated because Marcus Smart came in. He was a little older, and again, he was not a starter to begin his career. He over time earned that role and became more aggressive. And now it's like you're watching Marcus Smart. You're like, all right, dude, shoot less sometimes. Like you're almost like he has that mentality, definitely, no doubt about it. So he grew into that, and he grew into that dog that he is now a Defensive Player of the Year. You always knew he was a great defender. You always knew he had a little bit of everything, but again, it was the shooting, and I think he's worked on it. So again, Killian can progress into that. And the Ricky Rubio, it's that passing ability, man, and it's obviously the lack of 3-point shot. But I think Killian can get it better. I mean, it's like how do you get better if you're not attempting more? You know what I mean? Like you can work on it in the gym, but if you're not shooting in games, how can you say you have improved? So I just think he needs to go out there and be aggressive. Like that's honestly all.
Yeah, I agree, bro.
I love the comparison though.
Yeah, and with the Marcus Smart, like you said it, Jeff, is shoot less. Like I wish we could ask Killian, bro, shoot less. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing. It's a mentality thing, bro. Shoot it. Shoot the ball. You've got a 4 or 5 inch height advantage over a lot of these guys. If you got Trae Young, you should have 25 points. Sorry. Yeah. At least putting up enough shots to get 25 points. You know what I mean? It's just a mentality. Are you looking to be aggressive? If he had that aggression that Smart had from day one when he should have taken less shots, I think we'd be in good shape with Killian Hayes.
Yeah, and it's tough now too. It's tough right now too because of it's almost like I don't want to say it's too late, but with Jaden Ivey and Cade, it's like you're battling some dogs, like and they earn that spot. Now, if you could start Cade at the 3 and then you move Sadiq, I don't know how that would work if Killian earns a starting spot, but even come off the bench, man, like Marcus Smart was always valuable. There's not even now. I don't think he'll be Marcus Smart. Don't quote me on that. He's not going to be Defense Player of the Year. I don't know about that, but a fraction of that I'll still take.
And this one here is interesting. Chauncey Billups averaged 9, 3.4, and 2 in 23 minutes per game in his 4th season. And with that, it was, again, what was he asked to do and what was the situation he was in? Chauncey Billups was in some weird situations, up until he came to the Pistons. And the team knew exactly what they wanted him for. They had a role for him. They knew exactly what they wanted him to lead, what they wanted him to do, be the extension of the coach. You're going to learn to play the right way. They even knew that he had to work on some things before he became a championship caliber point guard. And that's what I love so much. That's what was missing in between that going to work squad and what we see Troy Weaver doing right now is that, Jeff, you talked about what we hear Troy Weaver saying right after he drafted Ivy, started going right up to him, coaching him up, telling him, look, this is what we got for you. This is what we want you to do. And that's the difference here, man. That's the difference. And I believe
we got it on wax.
Damn, I'm quoted.
He need to learn how to attack the rim relentlessly, and that's the case. It's like when you look at his footage from France, man, from overseas, he gets to the rack and gets some layups, but it's the level of physicality and defense and people in the paint. It's just a different game. I think when Killian's out there playing basketball in the NBA, it probably just the court, the floor, the makeup, the defense in front of him, the shifts, they probably just all look different. Yeah, they just do. And this time you're going in there with that whole pair away layup stuff. That's getting sent into like the 10th row.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I think you're right, bro. I think it's just a difference in culture when it comes to physicality. And I mentioned it before. There's so many times when he would get by his guy and have a guy on his hip, but because of the physicality being there, he would do a sidestep or fadeaway, and he had a clear lane to the hoop. So I think he just needs to embrace that physicality on offense and embrace it.
The thing is,
he has the tools.
When we've seen him attack like that, he can get it done. But it's all up here with him. Like he's just got to have that mentality to attack and actually go at the rim. Yeah.
I like what word the guy used. It's a very good word. Like it's that confidence, but also he's getting stronger, which is a plus. You've seen the videos in the offseason. I know he's working on his finishing ability, but again, I'm never going to write him off, man. I'm excited. I'm really excited for the season to start. When we talk about it, baby.
Then what is everyone's timeline for Killian? So like if are you giving him the time? Is it looking like the trajectory here? I saw somebody say he up to the bench role. It looks like he wants to be here. Are we in for the Killian experience like long term? Like what are you guys feeling about that?
I would if it were up to me, I would give Killian the season to show his improvements, what he's how he's grown his game, where he's at now as a player. Mm-hmm. And if we see mostly the same Killian, I'd give him a 2-year contract with a team option on the second year. I'd commit to. I would until I would see something that I would want to commit to long term. I would give him a year by year basis until we see it, and then if we're at a point where we're looking to win and take it to the next step, we can trade for someone that would perhaps fit that role better and be a little bit more consistent, maybe give something a little bit more on the offensive end while being, like maybe not all world defensively, but comparable, serviceable, right? So, in my opinion, like, listen, like at the end of the day, he does have to show something soon. And if he doesn't, then I don't think there's anything to commit to long term. And I don't think the Pistons would be in any pressure to commit to that long term.
No, there's two things. One of them being right now, you can afford to let Killian just go out there and be Killian. Like, you're not pressured to win. Go out and go out and make, be a 5th seed, 4th seed, whatever it is. Like this year, you give him that time. The second thing is whatever happens this season, you have to ask yourself, can I find somebody cheaper that can do what Killian does? If he shows things this year where you're like, damn, that Killian can do things, although there's negatives, there's things he does. I want to bring this man back. And like you made the point, Kool-Aid, and same with Sean, like the market, it's looking like even if you have to bring him back, like I'll do that on what deal? Like it's not going to be expensive for Killian. So right now I give him the time. Once you're pressured, okay, this team is a top 5 team in the East, then the decision becomes way more tougher to make, because now are you playing him or you're not playing him? Because now you're playing in big time games every single game during the regular season. It's do or die. Right now, I'm good, man. He's got time.
I think the most time I'd be willing to give him on a contract is a 3-year deal with a team option on the 3rd. Like honestly, like
I need a team option in
there. Like there, like whatever it's going to be, there's going to be a team option on whatever the end of that deal is. At most, after this year, I think I would at most commit 2 more years, because I think that fits in our timeline of still wanting to grow and improve as a team. We're not necessarily like in the win now mode in these next couple of years, but in that second season, at the same time, that in that second year, that 3-year deal, we could be at a place where we want to improve. And feasibly, that's a tradable contract, because that's a salary that can be dumped by a team. So I think feasibly giving him at least like 2, maybe 3 more seasons, like including this year. If he doesn't show anything, then brother, at that point, it's probably time.
What? Great point. Oh my gosh, Mr. Adam has entered the chat.
I was waiting.
And he enters it with saying, "I like to get pegged." Welcome, Adam. Glad you're here.
I wouldn't expect anything less.
Yeah, 100%.
But what year was it for Bruce Brown and Luke Kennard when Troy got them out of here? I know it was Troy's first year, but was that their 3rd year?
It was 2020.
We're starting to be, huh?
It was 2020.
I think it was Luke's 3rd.
Luke's 3rd. Yeah, I know that there were decisions that had to be made. I know Luke got the bag right after that, and that's what makes this real interesting with Killian. Obviously, Killian has not shown as much as Luke Kennard to even warrant close to tricking a team into giving you the bag. Oh my gosh. I can't put that on the screen.
I mean, I can't be in prison though, Adam. That's the thing. If I'm in prison, I'm definitely scared about that, man.
I can't. Hey, Adam is on fire, bro. He is on fire. Shoot, but yeah, I kind of agree with your scenario here, Sean. I want to give Killian as much time as possible, but with the string of guards that Troy has brought in, I'm just like, well, next year, if we land middle of the draft, you're telling me there's not going to be an attractive guard sitting there?
Well, yeah, and it's like you're telling me even like, well, even then, like think about this, like what, like let's say in a couple years from now, like other teams, like players are going to be available. Let's say like the Pistons can like make an improvement, and they can like instead of going to get a guy like like Killian Hayes, what if they can flip that and bring in a guy like Cameron Payne? What if they can go out and get one of those top like backup point guards in the league, someone who brings both sides of the ball, someone who does bring that improvement? Because when you are going to be in a win now scenario, every position on the bench matters and your role players matter. So guys who can do both, like Killian, like as much as we like Killian with a lot of the things that he brings to the court, let's be honest, when it's an opportunity to win now, there's guys I like better. There just is. So, unless he develops into that type of guy where he's elite in that position as a 6th man, then, at that point we can make a change if we want to.
Agree. And I'm thinking about, you mentioned Cameron Payne. There's nothing that Cameron Payne does better than Killian Hayes, man. It's all just mindset for this guy. And that's why I'm like, he has to show up this season.
Yeah, because Cameron Payne, like you said, he's just a dog. He attacks. He's aggressive.
Yes. He's a lefty. He's a little bit smaller, may have a little bit more quickness, but he doesn't done anything noticeably better than Killian Hayes. Killian has things that Cameron won't be able to do because he can't teach those things, like size. So if he can just change his mentality a little bit incrementally, year over year, I think, 2-year deal, I'm not mad at that.
Bingo. I was just about to say this here. Like, we saw Killian look like he beefed up a little bit as well as Cade Cunningham this year. And Cade said it straight up out at the end of the season. We were all saying it before they even, before we heard him say it, but we know through different channels, Cade already knew, I got to get stronger. I got to get stronger. I got to get stronger. I'm so glad he knew that after his first season. Shout out to Ashton, the trainer. Shout out to his camp. Shout out to Troy. Shout out to whoever's talking to these guys, man, because they knew. And with Killian, it seems like this year, with actually having a summer to be able to do some things, he went and he got a little bit stronger too. I know that people wanted to see a little bit more in Summer League. I think we all wanted to see a little bit more out of Summer League. But
Everything King would give it a 10 out of 10, though.
Okay, so that's the Hall of Fame. Everything King, Killian Hayes, Summer League, that got to go in our Raptors.
Yeah,
I defended Andre Drummond. I promised I would never defend Andre Drummond on live stream, and I did it tonight. And I'm just like that.
You broke your promise to me.
That has to go up on in the Hall of Fame too, or the Hall of Infamy. But Killian, dog. What do we do with him, man? Like I wouldn't be shocked if Killian came out this year and we were just like, yo, he's actually pretty dope. Look at what he's doing. But does anybody really expect that?
Well, my question is, why did they pull him so early from Summer League? Like, why didn't they let him play at least the second
Come on.
I'm dead.
Oh.
Go ahead, C2.
Goodness, man.
Subscribe right now.
What I was saying before we were interrupted by that.
If you can gather your train of thought again, yeah.
My question was why. I was wondering just why did he not even play the second? Like they must have saw something that they were looking for, because obviously Isaiah Stewart and even Jaden Ivey obviously played at least the second game, but they must have been looking for something that they saw that first came out of Killian. Even though to us he was doing what he usually did. That's just what I was wondering if it was related to something.
I think the other thing too. I thought I saw that Troy Weaver say that he was actually playing with the French national team a bit as well. So I think part of me thinks that he was. Yeah, thank God I'm subscribed. That broke me, man. That was too good. Anyway, oh my gosh, but. I lost my train of thought completely. That killed me, brother. Like, what were we just talking about? I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I'm being serious. I don't.
No, I'm not gonna lie, Sean. I think that just like like the Men in Black, like just like that just did that to me right now. I don't know. Like I just got my mind erased.
Yeah. So how about this? Maybe this is a good time to shift conversation because Kool-Aid, you asked me, is there anything I wanted to talk about tonight?
Yes.
Andre Drummond was not on my list, believe it or not.
He wasn't on my list either, bro.
You did your homework, bro.
Right.
You did your homework, man.
But I was prepared, though.
Yeah, you were prepared. You were prepared. I just brought my baggage and counseling notes to everybody. That's my bad. But in all seriousness, one of the things I texted you, and this was a video that Jeff and I did earlier this week, and we talked about, is Sadiq Bay the best shooter in Pistons history already? James Edwards III earlier in the year tweeted that he believes that he might be. And
ain't no might.
And yeah, it ain't no might. Like he believes he's the greatest shooter in Pistons history. And Jeff and I went and broke down the stats and looked at his 3-point numbers and where he's at. And it's just crazy to see he's already near the amount of attempts that Joe Dumars had throughout his entire career. Like he's shooting the three at a level that not a lot of Pistons have. This is something I could say I did my homework because we actually did it on video. There's tape, there's evidence. But Joe Dumars is the number one 3-point shooter in Pistons history. And Sadiq's already almost approaching his volume of threes. It's unreal. But in addition, he's already almost going to be lapping them in makes. It's one of those things where, I think this year, one thing that we could see out of Saddiq from his consistency, I think having a guy like Jaden Ivey that's going to help, not only the floor spacing is going to help him, but he's going to help with getting guys open shots and spacing the floor for guys as well, because he's going to attract attention. He's going to have to draw guys from the perimeter to help and stop him from getting to the lane. Otherwise, it's free money for him every single time. So like Sadiq's going to have more open looks and more open opportunities. And if he's going to be able to play that more natural role of his, where he's kind of like a 3, like a 3 as like the third option, I think he's going to thrive in that. So I was just curious what your guys' thoughts were, because there's a legitimate case that he is the best shooter in Pistons history already.
Oh no. And let me plead my case, because there ain't no shot. He will be, stamp it, because it's the NBA. That is how the NBA is today, fellas. That is the facts back then to now. And look I'll give you the facts too. Sadiq Bay, 386 threes made. He's 13th all time. And Sean brought it up, the attempts close. I mean, he's really almost has half of Joe Dumars. But look at other guys on this list. He's 13th. Reggie Jackson's 8th. With 469 made threes, Saddiq is only 100 away from Reggie Jackson, less than, and he'll move up to 8. And then now you're talking Rasheed Wallace at 581. Like, if he keeps this pace, he's did this in 2 years. He's had almost 400 threes in 2 years. Joe Dumars has 900 in 14 seasons. So give Saddiq another 2 seasons, he may already be top 3. So as long as he plays a long time in a Detroit Pistons uniform, he will. There is no problem.
He's doing it at the volume he's doing, and he's doing it at the efficiency he's doing, man. It's just he's such an elite 3-point shooter.
Sean, you just hit on it. You talked about if he can get more consistent. He's doing this while being inconsistent. Imagine if he's consistent, he's going to blow these records out of the water. I will tell you, this is not a conversation. I get people want to bring
and
up,
without having a guard who can penetrate and get into the
absolutely
range.
More talent now. He's going to get more open shots. He got 50 last year with who was in the game when he got 50. Imagine now with Jaden Ivey, Cade, the whole squad, Killian, guys setting him up. He's going to get easy shots, and I'm telling you, if you can knock him down, he'll be one.
Yeah, he's one of those guys where once he's hot, it's like NBA Jam. Ball's on fire. He's not missing. You know what I mean? So
boom, shakalaka.
It's a wrap. Yeah,
he looks like a player from NBA Jam.
Boom, shakalaka.
He does.
In another thing I got to add too is I don't want to.
I'm sorry.
One thing I feel like I'm in a way disrespecting is Saddiq isn't just a 3-point shooter. I want to get that straight, because he can score. I think there's a lot more to his game that he's still developing, and you see him, he can't get out the gym. Like, there's a lot there, but just his ability to shoot the 3-point shot, like, that's what I'm looking at too. Like, it's not like his attempts, they might go down a little bit, but I'm telling you, with the amount of attempts he'll have, he's going to clear attempts out of the water as well. Number 1 of all time in Pistons history, just because that's his role. What are you asked to do? Sadiq, knock down shots. That is your role. So he's in a perfect role for it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. I don't see where this situation isn't working for him. I mean, that's what all of us are saying here. Yeah. I think you and Sean have completely covered that one. He's an Iron Man. The only thing that can slow him down is if he doesn't play. That's it. It's true. And with the aspects that he's added to his game, he's a rhythm scorer. Huh?
Hardest working player in the league. Like you could legitimately make the argument that he is the hardest working player in the league. Like, I literally name one other player that went to Colorado during this offseason for the sole purpose of high altitude training. Yeah, like literally hiking for the sole purpose of conditioning and getting into the best basketball shape of his life. Imagine like with Saddiq. I mean, you think about it, how many games he played. A lot of shooting sometimes is in your legs. And if your legs are gone, how are you going to be able to go out there night to night and be able to consistently make shots? So now that he's building up his conditioning and getting in better shape, you can only imagine his shot's going to be more stable. He's going to be able to be less tired night to night. Like, that could genuinely improve his shot alone.
Yep.
And that just speaks to, because it wasn't like he missed games last year and he's like, oh, I got to get my body in shape.
Yeah,
I was a weakness. He played every game last year, and he's still saying, "How can I get better?"
That's the kind of guy you play every game last year.
The only Piston.
And that's if you're available, it's gonna work out. A lot of these guys, you miss games, it hurts you.
Yeah, and what's gonna help him tremendously is, we talked about this last year. Sadiq Bay started off the year learning and developing new aspects of his game, which did do a lot to his overall efficiency and his overall season numbers as it relates to efficiency. And they talked about that. He was working on new things throughout the season. You're coming into a season this year where they're saying, you know what? We like what we've seen. We know what you're capable of. And to Deuce's point as well, that notion of him looking like when he gets going, like it's on NBA Jam, it's because he's a rhythm scorer. You know what I'm saying? And when you're a rhythm scorer, it doesn't matter if you have the range. If you know You got a good shot, even if you're inconsistent at times. When you get on those runs, it doesn't matter at those points in time. So the benefit of Sadiq Bay going and adding to his game, it's like 2K almost, man. That's the reason why 2K puts it in the game. The more that those types of guys get buckets, especially easy buckets, the easier it is for them to splash threes, especially when they are open.
I don't know about y'all, but my favorite stretch of the season this last year was the 2 to 3 weeks when Jeremy, Saddiq, and Cade were all in rhythm at the same time. Do you remember specifically that? Like it was like a 5, 6, 7 game stretch where Killian and where specifically where Saddiq, Cade, and Jeremy were all playing their best basketball, getting 20+ point games. And that was when we were starting to beat the Celtics. That was when like the team was really starting to turn the corner and really like take that next step. And like that was when you saw the flashes of what this team could be and what that tandem of Cade and Sadiq can be if they keep working at it. So it was just one of those things where like specifically when I saw like Sadiq excel in that role and like when he was scoring at that efficient level, because like the you never have to question his confidence as far as pulling the trigger and firing on all cylinders. And, you know, even how much he's shown his ability to like improve his ability to create his own shot, even in just 1 year, like one off season. And it wasn't even like, it looked like he just did something. It was like, oh, I'm just trying to now. Like, that's just, oh, okay, I'm just doing it. So like, it's insane, man. Like there are a few players I think higher of than Sadiq Bay, and it's really not close.
And I want to say this. I'm actually going to hop off after this, but I've had a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie to you fellas. It's been fun, man, watching you.
We're happy, man.
I want to, all you fellas, man. I love doing this. But I do want to add with Saddiq one last thing. And I see it getting brought up in the chat, and I got to respond to it. The Chauncey Billups thing, people wondering, I will take, efficiency over quantity. Guys, I'll take a guy who can hit 10 threes on a given night, like a guy who can get hot like Saddiq. That's the thing, Kool-Aid, you brought it up, with being a rhythm shooter. Chauncey might be more efficient, but I'm telling you, if Saddiq can be more consistent, you can't look me in the face and say that Chauncey will still be a better three-point shooter than Saddiq. He can get hot. He can hit 6 threes, 7 threes. He hit 10, career high, like for a second-year player. Damn. And I get it's the NBA. They're attempting more threes, but he's knocking them down. Like that's I can go out in an NBA court, shoot 12 threes. How many am I hitting? Am I hitting 9 for 12? Because if I'm hitting 9 for 12, I'm a damn good shooter. But that's Saddiq, man. He's going to keep working and he'll be more consistent.
Saddiq is the best shooter in Pistons history. Chauncey Billups is the best big shot taker in Pistons history.
Absolutely.
And there's a difference.
Absolutely.
Yeah, last 5 minutes of the game, of course, Chauncey Billups all day long, taking any shot on the court, man. Even that little post up he would do. But as it relates
Sadiq Bay's open, forget about it.
Yeah, but Jeff brought it up. Saddiq is the type of player who any night he can give you 10 3-pointers and you wouldn't be shocked. You wouldn't be shocked. And hey, we ask these types of questions all the time, man. If Sadiq Bay hit for 10 threes or 8 threes next year in any game, are you sitting there going, oh my gosh? Like, obviously, if Killian did that, we'd be like, wow. But the reason why we wouldn't be shocked is because Sadiq Bay is that type of player. And for me, it gets a little hard because I did see, Joe Dumars play, saw Chauncey play, and it's like, I saw Allen Houston, and those guys were gunners. Man, even Jerry Stackhouse, we talk about scorer, man. But Sadiq Bay is the first player we've had. I'm trying to think. There's Terry Mills, who was known as a three-point specialist.
18 straight.
Yeah, we tried to say that Luke Kennard was that. Luke Kennard was not a three-point shooter. He is not what Sadiq Bay is at all, bro.
Nope.
At all. And that's sometimes when we think about it, it's been a long time since we had a flat-out three-point shooter like Sadiq Bay.
Can I send Jeff off on a bright note? Because I saw someone put in the chat, but Billups, and I want to do my Mason impression with the
Blanco Mason. Let's go.
All right.
Reverb. Let's go.
At point guard from the University of Colorado, 6'3", Chauncey Billups. I'm telling you, brother. I'm telling you,
right.
Nailed it.
I'm telling you, brother. I
just want to let you guys know, Sean studied for that.
Listen, I did my homework.
He before the stream, he was doing it. I heard him.
I'm saying, man, Mason, if you're ever sick, I can cover from my bedroom, brother. I got everything I need, brother.
So real quick,
We got to get Mason on the pod. That's all I'm saying. I got to meet Mason this season.
Yeah.
What's gonna be the high for next season for Sadiq Bay for 3-pointers being the game? Is he gonna eclipse 10?
That's tough.
You know what? I think he's gonna have one of them games where the team is just like,
Go ahead.
go get 11. Like he's gonna have one of those games. They're gonna try. I know that. Like the game when he got 50, dog. You could tell they're like, here you go. Like,
and he was pulling up with
conviction.
too.
They just gave it to Steve.
Yeah.
Man, as soon as he passed half, he's letting that thing go. 2 guys, man, cash like that. It's just he's different, man. I'm telling you, as he gets older, I think Sadiq's gonna blossom. Whether I still think, and I'm gonna hold this opinion. I think he's our 3rd or 4th best player on a championship team. I don't know. You're projecting at this point, and I hate doing that, but still, to be your 3rd, 4th. Look at the Boston. Look at this finals this year. Who is the Celtics and the Warriors' 3rd or 4th best player, man? Like, that's still a damn good player. So I'm out of here, fellas. But Sadiq Bay, I'm ready for him. I'm ready, baby. Let's get it.
Jeff, I love you, man.
So you said 3rd or 4th best player, though, for Sadiq?
I would say 3rd, but just because I believe in his work ethic, I'm going to say 3rd. I'm going to say 3rd. I'm going to stick by that.
I'm with you.
All right. See you guys.
Love you, brother.
All right, bro.
I think that's a good question, man. You know what? I know we talked about the option. We talked about that on Woodward Pistons podcast, where we thought he would be 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and all of us kind of consensusly said that he's just that guy. It's not like there's a number applied to him, like, oh, he's our 2nd option, 3rd option. He's just Sadiq Bay.
I think you know what I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where Sadiq is more than capable to be a 3rd option. But what a luxury would it be if he was a 4th option? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I think that's really what the piece is like ultimately, ideally, if you're building a roster, I think you would want to shoot for Sadiq to be your 4th option solely just because you want to get as much talent as you can. But on the other hand, I don't think this roster is ultimately worse off if he is our 3rd option. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I agree. I think he's a 3rd that can on many nights be your 2nd. Talking about a guy who dropped 50 points in year 2.
Yeah. I mean,
50. Yeah.
He could be your 1 if need be.
He can definitely be a 2nd. Consistency is the key, though. Like, if he can be consistent, then he can definitely be your 2nd.
That's the separator with Sadiq Bay. It's that consistency. If you knew every single night that we were going to get some of those peaks that we see a little bit more, then we would be sitting here probably having a different conversation. And that's not a knock on him. It's just the next step, the next evolution, because Sadiq Bay could come out this next year and just be absolutely like the way it seems like he's going. I've said this a couple times. Sean said it. Other people have said it. It seemed like Sadiq Bay was a little perturbed at all this. Hey, we need to draft our 2nd player, our 2nd option. And then that's when all that noise came out about Sadiq Bay going and training hard and doing this and clearing his mind and all that stuff. And I know Rod Beard from the Detroit News did that article on him as well to really get into the nitty gritty of him. And Sadiq Bay is trying to be great. He ain't sitting around saying, I can be a 3rd option. He's sitting down trying to be great. And that's something that, as it relates to that Drummond piece, that's the thing that he was missing. Rod touched on this. Sadiq Bay has an intrinsic trait, something that he said he recognizes, not that he's going to be Kobe or Devin Booker or this, but those things that those guys have is just a trait that I want to be great. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to work. I'm going to go out there and YouTube it if I have to. I'm going to go out there and put myself in the right gyms around the right people if I don't know what to do. He just had a certain maturity to him, and he has a certain love for the game of basketball, man, that he wants to be great. So I'm not Sadiq Bay is a person I cannot close the book on. Even though we're saying 3rd, I'm not going to be surprised if we come out here this next season and he just consistently does the things that we know he can do good. Now, Killian, I don't know. Obviously, that book is going to have to get written sooner or later. But with Sadiq, I think he can only go up, man. I think if you're consistent in your approach, it's only a matter of time until you're consistent with it on the court. Like, it's truly, you get what you put out of it. And with Sadiq Bay, you're never going to question if he's working hard or not, because literally, if you're asking him to take time off, that means that you're working hard. Yep. So with that, like, it will come, it will be there. Those results will show. And eventually, like, he's going to be consistently what he's ultimately putting into it. So, And I just wanted to ask this real quick. This is great because this is what I was trying to say earlier. What option was she?
Depending on night.
It's a she. That's what I'm saying. Like Bay is one of those players. It's just he's Sadiq Bay, and as long as he continues to grow in an area of consistency, then he starts to step into that. He's Chauncey or Rip. You know what I'm saying? That was a totally different era, but she was just Ben and Tay were just Ben and Tay. We knew that Chauncey, I saw somebody said in there, he was masterfully going to manage the game. And Rip, they knew defined role. You're just gonna score. You're gonna wear people out, flat out. And she was just she. And that's what I'm hoping with Sadiq Bay, that she'd had that mentality to be great. But he didn't necessarily have that mentality to take over.
Exactly.
With Sadiq Bay, I see that mentality to absolutely. When he got to the Pistons, that is. There were games when she was with Portland when it was here. But Sadiq Bay, I see where he has a mentality to just want to take over. And I'm glad that these guys are not acquiescing to the fact that, oh, we got Cade. Oh, we got Ivy. Cool, I can chill. Now I'm glad these guys are like, all right, time to work. Because think about it. In that first draft, they brought in Killian and they brought in Beef Stew. By 2 drafts later, they brought in Ivy, and
they also brought in Sadiq Bay that draft too. That's how crazy that is. It's like,
but the biggest thing though, the absolute biggest thing to me is that these guys want to win and these guys want to be here. And I think as a result of them playing, wanting to be here, I think they go hand in hand basically. But that's the difference that I see between these guys compared to players of the past. Like they didn't really display that drive, that want to win and the want to be here as much as these guys.
Right.
Yeah. And I think a big part of wanting to be here was who's in your front office. What's going on upstairs. And that's a big part of it. I don't know if those guys who are here now but wanted to be here during that Stan Van Gundy regime.
And how about how like Jay Ivey, he touched on it in that interview with Fanside the other day where he said that we have players that love Detroit, that love playing for Detroit. And like that's the thing when you have, because that is a thing where like, with Blake, it's like you couldn't question that, like he went out there and worked hard, but it's like you could tell, and like he even pretty much admitted like he didn't embrace the city, he didn't necessarily want to be here. But it's like, it's one of those things where with Cade Cunningham, this is where he wanted to be. Jaden Ivey, this is where he wanted to be. Killian Hayes is glad to be here. Beef Stew wanted to be here. Jalen Duren, this was the team he wanted to be on. And the reason is not just because of what's happening in the front office, but it's also because of guys that buy into the vision that we're selling, that buy into what the culture means. And they realize, like what a lot of other players realize, is winning basketball.
And basketball players don't want to go to a team where, there's disorganization. And more importantly, where the other players aren't pushing each other, man. That is such a horrible situation to be in. When you're in a team and you're trying to be great, but your guys, your bros, your team, your gals, whoever it is around you, they're not pushing you to be better. They're not challenging you at all. With this grouping of guys, I see people who they don't settle for what people even said that they're going to be. I'm telling you, everybody thought when Sadiq Bay was coming in that we was getting a dark-skinned Luke Kennard who was just going to shoot some threes from Villanova. That's what I mean. Did anybody think different? Anybody say, "Oh, he's going to be in year 3," or in this year?
I had no clue. I listen. Like that was like a draft class for like because of COVID. I knew very little because it was hard to know, right? Like the information that was out there on these guys was relatively sparse. I mean, Saddiq had some stuff, right? But I mean. I knew that people were thrilled when we got him. I knew like I when he came in and didn't play much time at the beginning, that's kind of what I expected because he was drafted at 19. But I don't know if anyone could have foreseen this value. I mean, if we were to do a redraft,
not at all.
Listen, man, if we were to do a redraft, are you telling me he's making it out of the top 5?
Sean, I did no homework. I did no homework on Sadiq Bay. I was one of the ones that was like, dog, what?
Yeah.
I really was like, all right. But I was like, all right, this is
I was like 3 players? I was like, man. Chill.
Yeah.
At the time, bro, I mean, for real, man, if y'all could put in the comments at the time that we drafted for Sadiq Bay, what were your thoughts? What type of player did you think we were getting? You know what I'm saying? Like, what did you believe he was going to be? And is it anything that we see him now?
Like, if you do a redraft,
I didn't know much about him either. But all I remember hearing was that he was a guy that kind of slid. Like, why?
I remember hearing he was the steal of the draft, and I'm like, okay, well, we hear that every year. We hear it every year, and we all disappointed. But now looking back on it, I think definitely he was still the draft. There's no question.
Yeah, him, like, I would say, like, if you're to redraft, it would probably go, you'd probably still take Anthony Edwards 1. I think he's probably been the best player in the draft still. I would say you probably go LaMelo 2, just because of what he's been so far. I think 3, I would probably say Tyrese Maxey. I mean, listen, what he did in the playoffs, what he's been for Philly, I would say probably Tyrese Maxey's the 3rd player taken in the draft if we were to do a redraft. Is that fair to say? Would you guys agree with me on that?
I'm agreeing with you so far. This comment is killing me, but you're on point.
Okay, and then I would go Sadiq 4th. Honestly, I would go Wiseman 5th. Like, honestly, I would take Sadiq over Wiseman right now.
Oh yeah, he hasn't played a game.
Yeah, he hasn't played. Yeah,
he played one summer league game, like 20 minutes. So, and like he looked good. He did a lot of good things, but like honestly, like the big thing is, like, if you really were to go, like, Sadiq's the 4th pick in that draft. Like he's the 4th best player in that draft class.
Hey,
that's
shout out Mr. Privy, man. Shout out one of the OGs in our
Hey, what's up, Privy? Yes, sir.
Hey, look, man, we got some people that did their homework, man. I feel ashamed. I feel ashamed. You know, at the time, I'm telling you guys, I didn't know him or Beef Stew, dog. I was just sitting here like, what?
Same.
Yeah, I didn't know much about
it. I'll be honest. I went in with my eyes on one player in that draft because I was like, all right, well, we want a point guard. So Tyrese Halliburton made the most sense to me. Like he was like to me, the safest pick at the time. Now, obviously Troy Weaver knows, and a lot of people on Twitter were very high on him. Kevin O'Connor thought he was the number 1 player in the draft. You know, like there was a lot of analysis out on him, but he was also the least known commodity of those point guards. And I would say that he's still kind of proven to be the least known commodity. Like I think what we thought of Killian before the draft, or what like some people thought of Killian before the draft, is kind of like what we think about him right now. Was that fair to say?
Yep, I think that's fair.
Yeah, but I mean, the crazy thing is, again, and the reason why it's not as big of a deal and why we can adjust our expectations is what he did with those other 2 picks in that first round. How he made that value to get 3 first-round picks, because Killian wasn't just the only piece. He wasn't the building piece. He was a piece of the foundation. They called it the core 4 for a reason. They included Saban Lee in that for a reason.
Yeah.
Bro, the difference that having a plan and the people to implement it makes, bro. Like, just the difference that makes is just so much better, because you're right. We are able to sit here and say, you know what? In his first draft, Troy stacked the deck. I think he went in and just got the 3 players he wanted. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think he did. I think he wanted Killian. I know he said he definitely wanted Isaiah Stewart and Sadiq Bay. He put that out there, and they said that was the player that they wanted. That's what they put on record. And they went out there and they got those players. And Cade Cunningham, obviously, got the number 1 pick. They did say they did their homework, but Cade was ultimately who they wanted. There's not much drama there, but in this draft pick, we know who they wanted. And they got
there hasn't been a draft where they haven't came out with players that they wanted. Like they got like all their top players.
Yep,
for sure.
And I guess that gives us a little bit more comfortability, because this team wants him and they want him to succeed. And I saw the patience that they did give to Sekou, who wasn't one of theirs, that Troy did give. He said, you know what, I'm gonna give him this year. You know, when I thought he was going to get that broom out when we saw the other guys kind of getting tossed out of here, but he showed enough discernible skill and measurement to say, you know what, let's kick the tires. And if you know, Killian is remotely what Troy thinks he can be, you know, next season should be pretty fun.
Yep,
it should be pretty fun.
Absolutely, man. And that's the thing is, you know, it's when you have a plan. 1 pick isn't your end all be all, because you know that you're always going to come back with a plan, because that's how plans work. Is that you generally have contingencies. Like Troy Weaver said before the draft, he played out hundreds of scenarios of how that draft was going to go down, of who was going to be available where. Like the reason why he had that look that he did and why he was like nodding like that was okay. That was one. That was maybe like the one. That like when it's like in Infinity War, when he's like, there's like 18 trillion scenarios and only one that we win. It's like that, you know what I mean? But he was like, oh, there's the one. Okay.
Yep. And you could see that too, because once we found out where we landed in the lottery at 5, and they asked us, how do you feel about this? Are you? The police said, no, we're not crying over spilled milk. We're gonna pick. So he's already prepared for every situation. He's not concerned about where they fall. He knows who he wants, and he knows his contingency plan. I think you guys mentioned.
And he also said that by no means does it mean that you can't get the best player of the draft at 5. And guess what Troy Weaver did? Get the guy that could arguably become the best player in the draft. So just like we said, right after the lottery, while Twitter was crying and going in flames, we stayed calm because we knew the plan.
That's it.
Yeah. And none of this is possible without Andre Drummond.
True. That is true. Say what you will, but ultimately that era is what
I was waiting for him to come back to it.
No, you're true. No, you're right. No, you're right. But ultimately, it was through those games. Like I was saying as a fan, after almost every game, like I remember there's games in particular, like when we lost by 50 to the Wizards, when we let Anthony Davis score 62 points, like games like that, where I just remember screaming, blow it up, because it was time and you knew it wasn't right.
Yeah.
I you are right, because ultimately that was what led to us realizing and Tom Gore's learning what you need to do to build a franchise. So it's just true. You're right. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Look, Sadiq,
Kool-Aid, we can agree on things. Look at that. The world isn't ending. What's
right
going
again.
on?
Oh no, we agree on a lot. Like
Oh,
we
yeah, we
agree
do.
that like Sean is a great dude.
99.9%.
Sean is a great individual, just as a person, as a human being. It's just on Drummond, you know. No, I'm just saying. No, King is not banned, bro. King always has a seat on this table. He's a part of the regular cast and crew. We got some things in the works. This table, our regulars, they always have their seat, so we try to shout them out. I know Lexi, among others, man.
Sometimes people just have things going on, and he always has the invite to come to the table. So at the end of the day, we love Kool-Aid regardless if he's here. I mean, King regardless if he's here. Awesome. If not, that's okay. We love you, brother. Excited when you're here next time. That's all it is. It's all love.
We're gonna get King in on the Drummond debate. We're gonna break something in. Sean and I are gonna we're gonna have some fun with that one, bro. We're going to. We have to.
Let the vape thing go, brother. Shut up. Who cares? Holy cow. Call me Brittany Griner. Like, miss me with that, brother. Holy cow. With all those carts he's puffing on.
Shout out MK, dog.
Okay.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. I mean, that was more like an episode of SmackDown. You almost got my wrestling character. I was telling Kool-Aid, I have this wrestling character idea that I've been pitching, and I have you're going to tell who it's based off of very quickly. His name is Murphy's Law. And Murphy's Law states I'm going to whoop your ass.
Bro, I don't think people understand. It's like, man, it is so much love, bro. It really is.
Oh, yeah. No, at the end of the day.
That's what allows this panel and these conversations.
At the end of the day, even if we get it under each other's skins, it's all family at the end of the day. And it also, you can realize, because here's the thing with it. Because we all know that, like I can't question Kool-Aid on how much he watches the Pistons. Because, like, literally, dude, if I'm arguing the Pistons with somebody, that means I respect them to argue the Pistons, because there are certain people that if they give me an opinion on the Pistons, I will be nice, nod my head, and not say anything, because I'm like, I could hit the nuclear button and run laps around you right now, and it would be embarrassing for you. Like, in that, like, there's people that, like, there's a list of prominent YouTubers on that list anyways, but but anywho, in all seriousness, it's like one of those things where you just you know when people know what they're talking about, and you respect what people are saying. So.
Sean, I think they're happier with us right now, bro.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. Mom and dad aren't fighting. They're just discussing what's best for their family. That's all. And at the end of the day, they're on the same team. Sometimes you can just be passionately angry with people you love.
All right, can we agree on this one though, Sean?
Yeah.
So we agree that the music wasn't all that. We agree on the cutie, but
Man, but I will say though, if you go like, there's podcasts out there about Sam from iCarly talking about their relationship. It's just weird, dude. And like, we don't get into personal lives or personal business, but like, if the allegations about what Drummond did to her are true, it's like, that's kind of scummy, but that's kind of like a whole other thing that we don't talk about on these.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like we don't get in people's business, but what I will say was when I saw it was Sam from iCarly, I was like, what the hell? Oh my gosh, dude.
See, like, look, Sean, what they don't understand is this. That debate, argument, whatever you want to call it about Drummond, that's indicative of, and we should, bro, me and you together should storm Tom Gores' house and say, bro, look what you gave us the last decade.
Dude, exactly. Yeah. That's really what
we couldn't argue about she left the person open, but at least we were in the finals. Bro, what? We got to talk about Coach Custer. Does anyone even remember him?
Custer.
Dude, that's the thing.
When half the team wouldn't even go into the game.
Because here's the thing, man. Listen, the thing is, we're both right because we both like saw different aspects of what made that team so bad. Because there is truly like, it's like you could really just go down the list, and he's right in the sense that Drummond's not number one. He's not, because there's so many other people you can put above there. To me, my argument is, well, he's still on the list. That's all I was really saying.
No, I get it.
Sure.
And you're right.
For sure.
You're right on that.
For sure.
He is right on that. He did get the money. He did sign the contract. And there comes with that, whether fair or unfair, a certain amount of expectation that comes with that.
That's exactly what I was getting at.
And that was the
unfair.
I know. This was more like fun, bro.
Yeah, exactly. And that's part of the fun, and that's part of the entertainment, and that's part of the fun of the debate. Is that that stuff, but you stuff that in the back of your head because you got to prove your point.
Now, look, bro. I had people for a year. Who really thought I was Andre Drummond. They thought Detroit Kool-Aid. I'm serious. And then I posted a picture of my son and Andre Drummond because we actually did meet him. They were like, "Dog, I knew it."
I had when I was in elementary school, I had kids that asked me if I was related to Eddie Murphy, and I just couldn't give them the biology classes to adequately tell them why that couldn't be possible. But it's one of those things where it's the thought that counts,
I guess. That's a way to look at it.
Oh my gosh. Hopefully we at least stop booing returning. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't like Drummond getting booed coming back to Detroit.
I don't either.
That is the thing. If he did play here for like 10 years, it's like, like he doesn't deserve to be booed about it. It's like, like you can acknowledge he wasn't what he needed to be, but like you don't got to be a dick. You know what I'm saying?
Same with Blake Griffin too. Blake Griffin booing that actually makes me more upset than Drummond because Blake actually gave it all. Like
you can't question Blake's effort in Detroit. Like I get the dunking thing, but like but like that. Listen, you got to understand his role in Brooklyn was different too. When he went to Brooklyn, he was asked to play in short spurts. Blake can dunk when he's playing in short spurts, but for the Pistons, when he was being asked to play 30 plus minutes a night and actually be one of their main options, he has to conserve his energy. He's not able to go out there each and every night because that's where his legs were. That's where his career was at. That's what happened because he put his leg on the line and we rode Blake through that playoff run. And that's how he got that 8th seed. That's just what happened.
And I think that's really when I gained a lot of respect for him, watching a guy whose game is mostly predicated up until this point on athleticism go against a guy in Giannis, whose entire game at that point was predicated on athleticism, and still battled. He did not play him, but he battled. Yeah. That's really when I earned a lot of respect for Blake.
One point though, and that's the thing, and I give Blake all of that, but you guys got to understand, if you remember that season very, very, very clearly, there was a stretch of games that Blake Griffin was injured. And if Drummond didn't put up one of the best stretches in Pistons history, I mean, it was so crazy that ESPN, SI, everybody, I clipped it. It was crazy. Because
we literally had to make the biggest comeback. We had to make the biggest fourth quarter comeback in Pistons history in order to like save our season. I remember it was the last home game of the year.
There was a string of games though around that All-Star break where Blake Griffin was out. There was a string of games where Drummond night after night after night, they were like, this is wild. We haven't seen nothing like this. The Pistons rolled that into the playoffs. Then Blake came back, kind of hobbled. And I'm not taking anything away from what Blake did to go out there hobbled. But I do believe if Drummond was hobbled, he would have gone out there as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not taking anything away, but that's what I'm saying. If we really want to talk about, if we really want to talk about it, man, there was this other aspects. If we're gonna prop up and give leeway to Blake Griffin's efforts or lack thereof because of circumstance, that's I guess what I was
Gotta
saying.
be fair.
That no excuses. Old boy got paid and he did not play like it at all. At all. He didn't even play up to like Clint Capella levels. You know what I'm saying? And that's a problem. But that series, that season, there was a stretch of games, bro, where he went ham. And that's why he actually made all NBA team that season. I think that's what actually got him in. It was that stretch. He was the only did Blake make all NBA that season as well?
In the 2018-2019 season, he was third team all NBA.
Yeah.
Which he deserved to be. He was, and the thing that was crazy about that was like, if you really look at how he played that season, like he really changed his play style. Like he really wasn't like this super athletic player. Like he was less mobile. He was more like, let's get into this. This is more interesting. Bravo. Yeah. Bravo crazy. Says, what do you guys make of Vegas predictions for Pistons 27.5 wins? I think it's a fair median to put us at. And if you're putting a safe betting number, I think that's valid. But personally, I expect at least 30.
Yep.
I want us to get to 30.
Yep.
Yeah, if we're not above 27, then I think Dwayne Casey is going to be in a different role, which I do not expect to happen. I fully expect this team to win at least between 30 and 35 games next season.
Yeah, that's where I'm at, Deuce. That's where I'm at, Sean Carl. When I look at this, and shout out to Bravo too, one of the regulars. He's everywhere, man, everywhere. Deuce, what that guy singing on Cade's live?
Bro, I'm still trying to figure it out myself, man. And Cade couldn't even hold back, bro. Like he started pulling the camera away so he couldn't see him. But after, that was not a good display.
That wasn't a good one. There, but
go ahead, bro.
This one's interesting because it can mean several different things. Either the Pistons are tanking but not saying it again, or they realize what they got first half, but they're like, all right, we can start to do some different things second half of the season that will put us in a position to get a better draft pick. Like, I don't know, because I don't see where – oh, my gosh. Bro, this 27.5 wins just seems so low. I'm sorry, 4 wins?
I think
an additional 4 wins over last season? I think
it's based a little low. I think it's based purely off of – like if you're looking statistically over time, how a number 1 overall pick player evolves from year 1 to year 2, you could say that like the jump maybe isn't the biggest. However, I think it's not. I think this is where numbers don't take into account the human traits and the character behind people, because Cade isn't a common number 1 pick or isn't a common number 1 talent. Like mentally, he's just a different person and built in a different way than a lot of players. So in my opinion, I just expect his year 2 jump to be more than other players. And in addition, we saw over the course of the second half of the season how he was starting to learn how to play and how the game was slowing down and how he was starting to get more wins for the team. And those are the types of wins that aren't fluky, because you can tell when those are wins that are caused by your franchise player playing his best game, because you saw Cade's consistency and improvement as the season has gone on. So you already saw that he grew in year 1 quite a bit. Just imagine what an entire summer of getting stronger, the build that he has. And in addition, if he gets that shot more consistent, that's at least a 30-win team. It just is. If Ivy can come in and be awesome.
Absolutely. Bless you, brother.
Bless you, my brother.
Yeah, I totally agree. I gotta call it, fellas, and got to here, but I'll end it with this. If 27 wins next year means we end up with Victor Wembanyama, bring it on. Bring it on.
Then you know that was the plan.
Then you know that was the plan. All right, fellas. Much love to y'all, man. I gotta get out of here.
All right,
I will catch y'all on the next one, man.
Yes, sir, brother. Yes, sir. And I know we're gonna wrap up soon anyway, but yeah, with this 27.5, it would signal other things are going on, man. Yeah. It would signal that they are purposely doing something else other than actually or actively trying to win, or they're telling players to work on this or work on that. 30 to 35 wins, I believe, has to be the goal. I personally said 35. When I went back and looked at the records again, I was like, wow, the East was pretty. The East was good, man. The East was good last year. The 10th seed had 43 wins, I believe. Yeah. That's a lot of wins. The Pistons to be the 10th seed based on last year's records would have to plus 20 wins from last year to this year. So, but to say that you don't think they're going to win 4 over last year, either they're believing that the East has really stupendously bigged up, or they believe that the Pistons haven't done anything.
Or they just know something that we don't. Now, that's the thing. The East is stacked right now. With our timeline, do we take another year to another development year? And I mean, that I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if this worked out that way. If this year wound up being a year where we're looking at it and similar to this year, we're like, you know what? They're working on some things. They're going to get a decent draft pick. All year we kept saying Ivy. He's the guy you want to get. We need to build through the draft. We're trying to restore. We're not on anybody's timeline. We're going to do this thing the right way. I wouldn't be surprised, but yeah, this one here, no, I don't think the fan base would be able to handle 27 wins, and I wouldn't blame them for how long we've been going through a roller coaster of up and downs, but there are scenarios that I could understand it.
Yeah.
There are. But I personally 30 to 35 wins, man. That shoot for that, gun for that. And I'm hoping that one of those teams that just come out and just absolutely surprise us. Like when the Hornets first got LaMelo, man, like it was almost like he was shot out of a cannon, man. And that team was just ripping and running up and down the court. And their expectations changed instantly. We believe in Cade Cunningham, all of us on this panel. It's not about, oh, he's our guy, this, that, and the other. Look, I believe Cade Cunningham has the opportunity and will go out here and prove to be all-star level like LaMelo Ball did last year in this second. So I'm ready for it, man. I'm ready for it. I'm not going to discount him. I'm not going to discount Sadiq Bay. Like, what? Like, I don't know. When I look at the overall depth on this team, it gets a little shaky off the bench, but I don't know, man. I see these guys doing 30, 35.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's, you know, just at the end of the day, I think it's also just a testament. I think part of the equation too is they're playing in a really difficult conference. Like we're looking at the talent of this team. And one of the things that you can really say about this Eastern Conference is from the top down, you can really say that every team in this conference, say except the Wizards, have talent and have like genuine talent. Like, I mean, they like the Wizards have Bradley Beal. Like obviously in all seriousness, they have Bradley Beal, but at the end of the day, they don't have much more than that. But you look at the Magic, Paolo Banchero. That's a genuine threat when you're playing that kind of guy 4 times a year. But in addition, it's every team, even Charlotte with all the woes and things that they have going on. They still have LaMelo Ball, who can explode for 40 points on any given night. So when you look from the top down, I think part of the equation that you do just have to consider, the Eastern Conference is really tough. So if the Pistons are going to get to 30 wins, they're going to earn it.
That's true. That's true. It's not a given, and not at all. There's no lunch. There's no like nights off because at the bottom of the East last year were the Pistons. So everybody is looking. You know, you're looking up. That just realistically how it is. But with the young lineup that we do have, and the maturity that guys like Sadiq Bay and Cade Cunningham, like the stuff that they're showing, and I liked what I heard from Marvin Bagley down at Summer League. I 100% did. I don't know if you guys saw the interviews. Go back, look at them.
Oh, they were great.
He looks enthusiastic. He looks like he's ready to go. He looks like he lost a little bit of weight, you know, which should be great for his what is it? His win next year. It looked like he was just absolutely winded. It was like he was sweating second play of the game, every game.
There was a quote.
I don't know, man.
There was a quote that I put on the
hesitant.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt, Kool-Aid, but there was a quote I put on the Woodward socials that Dwayne Casey actually said. He was talking about Marvin Bagley in interviews in Summer League. And one of the things that he said is that Marvin came to him towards the end of the year and said that this was for the first time in a long time, he was excited to come to practice. He was excited to work on his game. He was excited to be working with his team. So like when you hear those types of things that coming to Detroit, like he was serious when he said that, because it wasn't just him that's saying it. It's his coach. It's the front office that's saying coming to Detroit rejuvenated his love for basketball. And when you have a player that type of talent, motivated and excited to be there, imagine what that can harness, because that's a whole other thing. Imagine if that piece of the equation of if he lives up to anything near what he was expected or hoped to be when he was taken second overall. That's an equation, and another piece of this that we're not even talking about is what if he develops and takes that next step? What if he becomes that player on both ends because that's a type of player that can be threatening, dude, without a doubt, especially if he's motivated and he starts working hard and Cade and these other guys can push him to go to that next level. That's why you pick up Marvin Bagley, because it's that type of high reward right there. Yep. I'm not saying he's going to get there. I'm just saying there's a reason he was taken number 2 overall. There just was.
I think it's going to be
there.
Yeah. Yep. This is probably, I'm not going to say I'm going to say probably the most exciting Pistons season ahead, but this Pistons season, I believe, is the last one where we're going to be sitting here realistically having this aspect of a conversation. Like, we're not going to be celebrating the draft pick next year or the draft lottery unless the wheels absolutely fall off. You know, if the wheels absolutely fall off, then I can see us having to be in there getting excited for that. But this is the last year that I can see us saying, hey, development. Hey, you know, we don't know if we're ready to necessarily contend for playoffs yet or not. After this season, after the decisions have to be made with some of these younger players and their contracts and such, you have to be ready to contend. You have to be ready, not contend for championships, but contend with making the playoffs, being at least middle of the pack in the playoff field. You have to be, man. And, you know, we got everybody from, you know, all over now, from that interview that Jaden Ivey just had with Fansided to, oh my goodness, others who are just like JJ Redick, who's just like, yo, in 2 years, he believes that they're going to be a contender. 2 years in the East.
I don't know about that, but maybe. We'll see.
I mean,
I think a lot of people that are jumping on this bandwagon, it seems.
I mean, it really year 3 Cade is a terrifying thought. Like it's just the thing of
a menacing thought.
It is just one of those things because you know that he can just grow his game and evolve. Side note, can we talk about his single real quick? The preview we got of his rap song earlier today. I thought it was pretty good.
I think it's solid.
Yeah, I thought for his first single, I thought it was pretty good.
Where is it at? You gonna put it up here?
Oh yeah, I can pull it up. I can pull it up.
Okay.
Hold on.
I didn't know. If you got it, we'll play that on the way out then.
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah, absolutely. Let's show some love. Let's play the track real quick because he deserves it. It was pretty good. Okay.
And guys, I again apologize for the infamy of the Drummond talk, but we will revisit it.
We have to revisit it. It was. Hey, at the end of the day, man, it was great content.
It was.
It was great content.
It was awesome. I think it's content that really wasn't out there during that time either. Marty McFly, if you can run this back to the Drummond era and just kind of drop this on Pistons Twitter.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. And that's the thing. We want to become that content for Detroit. We want to be the go-to having these debates, and we want to be at the forefront of the conversations that we believe should be had in the Pistons community, man. So that's why you got to be here each and every week. But let's close out and listen to Cade's single, man.
Hey, time boy, you with that bitch. I try to cool him down. He used to want to get shots up, now he won't shoot him down. But that's my brother, wish him luck while he run through the town. I fuck him up while I'm away to keep my shooter proud. We came to play, so keep on laces, this here what we do. And I know JSU like my new up from out the coop. You see this rolling presidential, see it shining through. You see these presidential whistling when sliding through. I'm in C. Clark, I'm sitting here thinking about what Father do. And TV Garden gotta get straight to the business. If I'm on stage and I'm not bluffing, no, I'm coming with it. No, I'm the man, there's no discussion, ain't no competition. I get the board, I'm in transition, and I'm on a mission. I should have scored it, but I didn't get the offense mixing. You run my flow with me, you got it, I got started. I'm from the South to give a fuck about the opposition. And all my ops ain't really work, ain't got no pot to piss in. Now you know this ain't no 30, this is clock with switches. And a drum extension, hit him up, be missing. I be cooking with the pot, don't need no fucking kitchen.
Man, you could just tell he's a Piston. Like when you hear that line, like, I'm from the South, don't give a fuck about the opposition. Like, that's a hard line, dude. That is a bar. I'm just saying, man. Like,
I like the last line. I'm cooking in a pot. I don't need a fucking kitchen.
Oh my gosh. Like when I'm in the open, I'm looking to score in the transition. Like this dude is just fucking cooking, man. Like seriously. I'm impressed. Kool-Aid as a musician, as a guy that prides yourself as someone that can make some pretty darn good music yourself, you come from a lineage of music, by the way, if people don't know. What would you rate? What would you rate Cade's first single?
Bro, I like it. It's gritty. I think it vibes more with who we are than the stuff that Drummond was doing. Definitely. I was about to say, shout out to the producer. I don't like to go on other people's beats. Hey, Sean can rap low key. Oh, they say lineage. All right, hold on. I know I got the Pistons stuff around. Let me go bring something else in here. Then I'll be right back.
Kool-Aid gave me the education. He needs to give the people education as well on what he can do. I actually think I could low-key make a good rap song if I wanted to. I actually think I could. I'm serious. I feel like I actually could sing. I actually have a pretty good singing voice. Musically, I am not bad.
All right. This is the fan right here. This is back when people bought gold, when they bought records, bro. And my uncles and them, they went gold. They actually sold over 1 million records of their first album. And that's the group Take 6. Acapella, gospel, everything, bro. Everything. This was their other album. When they first came out back in the 80s and 90s, it was nothing like them, man. And everything that you hear from Boys to Men to Backstreet Boys to any of those people, man, they all got Take 6 in there. Hey, this is who we listen to. Pharrell Williams and everybody. So it was dope, man. It's awesome. My father, he's big on the Detroit scene. If you know Detroit music, then it's about gospel as well as it is the hip hop scene. The Winans, the Mosses, the Clarks, and all those people, man. My dad came up with those people. My dad and my uncle Cedric, who's in Take 6, they came up kind of playing piano and keyboards and such. My dad and his group, Sequence of Harmony, they did Channel 7 commercials, bro. They would sing during the holiday seasons. Their group would be the one doing that type of stuff. But yeah, Take 6, that's the lineage. That's
why I tell y'all, man, like we're not lying. Like we're not lying. Kool-Aid's never going to say this, and I know he wouldn't want me to say this, so I'm going to say this anyway. When I tell people that Kool-Aid's an insanely talented human being and a multifaceted human being, this is what I'm saying, dude. He has that type of lineage. He has that type of musical talent. He has that type of
somebody know my uncle's name.
Yeah, man.
Put it out there.
Yeah, man. Listen, I'm just saying, I'm just like Kool-Aid, you're not going to toot your own horn. I will. Because this guy's insanely talented. Seriously.
Hey, you know what? It's a lot of people around me that do a lot of good things, including these guys on this cast all the time, man. And to me, that's what it's about. That is what it's about. I'm just out here trying to fit in. The only thing that I will probably not be humble about is the Andre Drummond argument. But nah, real talk. That's for the people, man. They'll get it one day. They'll get it. Did we care that much about Killian Hayes last week, or did we? But nah, for real, we love I love this team. I love what we're doing. I love that we're selfless. And that's what I love, man. That's what drives me. I love being able to put on for other people. And it's fun. It's fun, man. We all eat together. Even off the streams, we're texting, we're calling, we're checking in. I don't think people understand it, brother. So
yeah, Kool-Aid, like genuinely, like Kool-Aid's one of my best friends in life. Like that's a brother of mine right there. And Carl's becoming a brother of mine. Like this is like, whenever we come up on these things, like I view this as like, this is like me going to like the lunch table at school, like talking about basketball with my friends. Like that's why I feel like table talk is perfect for this. Cause this is like the type of arguments that we have with your friends. And then the awesome thing is we have over 200 plus friends at times joining us in the comments, and you guys are all at the table with us, man. So anytime we're talking or even arguing and doing that with this guys, it's because you guys are just as much a part of it as we are, man. And that's what I love about this. This is a community thing. This is more than just about who's on the screen. And that's why we love y'all, man. Real talk. And I mean that.
I appreciate you guys giving me a chance to come on the stream. When you guys first started, I'm like, how cool it would be to actually be a part of that. And
well, dude, you earned your way up here, not just by being active and being a regular part in the community, but also just by the work that you were doing in the video editing. Like you are a person that contributes to the Pistons community. You have to be up here. You earned your spot.
I'm just doing what I'm passionate about. I'm just doing what I love. I'm passionate about the team. I'm passionate about all Detroit sports, really.
Dude,
that's where it started.
Dude, I'm at the point I'm looking like in 3 weeks, it'll be 1 year since I started the From Half Court YouTube channel. We're already almost at 2,000 subscribers. I literally don't know how I have the setup that I have, the people I get to work with. I literally have no clue, but like, it's because of the graciousness of all of you people. And I'm grateful. So we're just grateful, man.
Other than Andre Drummond, you do your homework, brother. I'm telling you guys, listen. I'm telling y'all, Sean is one of the most versed guys that I know. That's why it was funny. That's the only reason why I said that earlier. It was to just rag him. I knew it.
Oh, I know. I could tell when you were doing it. I was like, oh, he's just trying to get under my skin, and it's working. And that's why I had to I was like, that was him just being my brother right there. That's what it was. Because you knew exactly what to say. And I was like,
yeah. Shout out everybody, man. Shout out everybody in the stream, man. In the stream, I'm seeing Mr. Privy still around. Randall, MK, shout out MK, man. He's been active.
Yeah,
Arturo, everybody, man.
More thing, man. Expect something opening night. I want to meet people opening night, dude. Like seriously, like I want to be able to go, like even at a preseason game, dude. I don't care. I want to meet you guys in person this year. I want to get a freaking section of Woodward Pistons, and I want it to feel like a college game in there, brother. Like I want people to look at Little Caesars Arena like freaking Cameron Fieldhouse, dude.
Let's do it.
Let's freaking take it to the next level and make people on ESPN, make people on social media. We could be trending for the type of fan base that we could be, because we have that type of dedication online. If we bring that in person, dude, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
We're going to, man. We're going to. And I know, look, the watch parties. We're going to have watch parties next year, man. If we can get them back at Imagine Theater like how we did the draft last year, we're going to do that. Come on out, chill with us, man. Get on the microphone as well. We're going to definitely get the crowd involved. That's what we like to do, man. We like to interact with our fam and everything. It'll be a dope way to be able to interact with you guys in this upcoming season. And we do got something special coming for you guys. If you guys notice, you see Jeff, you'll see Sean, you'll see myself. We're all kind of doing different things. Some of us are kind of overlapping, but you'll notice we're not on anything together. And that was by design. We got coming up soon here, the Woodward Pistons show. It's coming up for the season. We're going to start it as a podcast this summer, and we couldn't be more excited. But the Woodward Pistons show is going to be all things Pistons. It's going to have a mix of post-produced content as well as our exclusive live streams. And we're going to bring you the best guests. We're going to have the best beat writers in town, which are really all of them at our major newspapers. And James Edwards, whoever they bring in with the M Live, we're going to make sure that everything Pistons is right there. We're going to have people like Carl. I haven't even told him yet. Carl contributing. We're going to have people like Deuce contributing. He knows. King, among others, man. So, look, it's going to be dope. If you saw a draft show,
it's the Woodward
Pistons
show.
I love Kanye West.
Oh my god, I could do like that. I could make an Akon. I could be like, nobody wanna see us together, but it don't matter. I got you.
Are you Sean Murphy or are you Akon? I think you're Akon.
Take us out of here, brother.
We gon' fight. Oh, we gon' fight. Oh, we gon' fight.
Oh man.
Man.
You know what?
There is no place you can hide from the Batman.
I am here. What up, though, y'all? Take us out, Sean.
Hey, I want to let y'all know. I do got one more announcement before we do end. Speaking of great beat writers, next Thursday we will be before we come on the stream. I'll actually be recording a podcast with Mike Curtis, aka the newest beat writer of the Detroit News, the lineage of and listen, the all the hype about him is real. I do just want to give him a shout out real quick because like Rod talked about how prepared this guy is. He's dead serious. He was like, hey man, just let me know and give me this stuff because I just want to be able to be prepared before this guy's for real. And he's the nicest dude. So I'm super excited to have him on. I'm really pumped to get to know him. And I'm super pumped, and we're going to release that episode next Friday. So be on the lookout for that. Mike Curtis will be on From Half Court. So be sure you're subscribed and ready to tune into that.
Hey, let's go. Let's go. Man, bro, Sean, you are grinding, bro. You are grinding.
I appreciate that, man.
Definitely. Hey, you want to sign us off?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hey, we just want to thank you all so much for being here, for making the Woodward Pistons show a reality, a possibility, something that we can actually work on. And it's because of you guys that people are recognizing and the community is getting buzzed, because believe me, people are recognizing what this community is. So thank you for making that possible. But in addition, be sure that you're continuing to make that possible by being subscribed and tuned in for what's coming up for the Woodward Pistons podcast with Rob Beard and Jeff and Kool-Aid, but also the Woodward Pistons show and the other content that's going to be coming out. So in addition, also make sure you're following Carl on Twitter so you're catching all of his edits and everything he's doing for Woodward Pistons. You're following us on Twitter at Woodward Pistons, and you are damn right I'm a Pistons whore, dude. It is disgusting the amount of money I've probably spent on Pistons merchandise in my life. I don't want to think about it. But anyway, with that kind of dedication, I need you to help me with that. So go subscribe to From Half Court to fund my addiction, to help my problem of funding my Pistons addiction. But anyway, in all seriousness, man, we want to thank you all so much for tuning in and making this the center of the Pistons community. And with that, we will catch you guys next time on the Woodward Pistons Table Talk.
Yes, sir. Go Andre Drummond.